All right, guys, sorry about that. Let's test this out. Make sure my sound works.
I had to.
All right, it does. It does work. Okay. Welcome to BrackCast 26. Topic for today is how much control do you actually have over your own life? And this was inspired by this post by Mindset Therapy on Instagram. Let's make sure I'm live. Yes, I am live. So you guys can see it there. Let me full screen that. So the post says, 3 things you don't want to accept. Your weight is a reflection of your daily habits. Your wealth is a reflection of your daily habits. Your mood is a reflection of your daily habits. 90% of the problems in your life are your fault. Excuses won't solve anything. So, I read this as a post from one of my friends. Well, he'll be here on the podcast, Dan, I think. And it resonated with me. And I agree to the extent of like, I am responsible for where I am. It's my choices and yeah, my decisions that keep me here, that have brought me here, that keep me here, that give me sort of there's like no excuse. This whole inspiration motivation thing, external stuff, ultimately I do think that it rests upon me to determine my own destiny, my own life. But then, you go to some of these comments, and it's true. I agree, but I don't necessarily think I would adopt it in the same manner. Okay, so forgot to mention. Weird segue. I'm gonna be eating, guys, sure, during this thing. Just so you know, if you guys don't know, I think it's only on for a couple more days. What a weird way to segue. Forgive me, but Domino's has 50% off on their website right now as a coupon. So yeah, I'm gonna be eating pizza during this podcast. Just so you know, in case you were wondering, and you want to get 50% off pizza. Anyway, so 3 things you don't want to accept. Excuses won't solve anything. Back to this example. May be true in some cases, but this post doesn't take trauma responses into account. Grief responses, mental health conditions, situations outside of someone's control. It actually just sounds like blaming, judgmental, and very smug. Toxic positivity is real. And there are 369 likes on that comment. And I see what they're saying. This post isn't for everybody, right? So the next guy just wrote wrong as fuck. And your habits are everything. Make sure to adopt the ones to get you where you want to go. Another kind of like a positive take on the tough love type of thing, right? So other people mentioned systemic racism, class where you're born into poverty or like social status and things like that. Very much makes a difference into, I guess, what you can achieve in your life. Like there must be like limitations and restrictions given that. And I don't deny that. I'm not doubting that. But your weight, your wealth, and your mood. I think it's more like relative, not your ultimate wealth of like what your potential wealth can be, but it's given. I think I take this sentiment, this post, in more so the realm of what's within my grasp, what's within my control. Yes, there are definitely factors outside of our control, like, the family we're born in, the country that we live in, the social status that we're in, or the neighborhood that we're in. Like there are there are things technically, yes. That's also within our control. We could choose to relocate or not or whatever, but ultimately, I'm taking this more on a micro level. The things I can actually influence within my daily habits and control. I don't know if that makes sense. We went on and on about something that kind of stemmed from this post. Uh, we jumped back to Black Lives Matter and the rioting and the protests, peaceful protests that led to violent protests last year. And we've been on about that all day. And these guys are still typing about it in our BrackCast chat when they should be on this, when they should be on the call. I'm going to see like, what's going on with these people? These guys chose to, I mean, it's been like back and forth. This chat. I really wish that the discussion, like we have, what we normally try to do um in these podcasts. Let's come up with a topic earlier in the week. Lately, in the last couple of weeks, the topic comes up and it's a good juicy topic which ends up being a great podcast, but it ends up being argued and talked over in the chat, and then we end up having to repeat ourselves in the podcast, which is silly. And they're still going. Anyway, you know, this is going to be a very controversial thing to go into if we decide we're going to go that route, in terms of, yeah, if you want to take this post, this, you know, what is meant to be a motivating post. Some of these people even looked at this post and said, "You've earned an unfollower today." Like, look, yikes, that was a slap in the face. Well, I mean, that could be a positive. How do you come up with this BS? Ouch, you. I saw someone else write, like, "You've earned yourself an unfollower today." Okay, guys, 90% obviously is subjective. It's subjective. It's meant to be a positive, like, reinforcement. This is supposed to be a motivating post. It's on an account that's just filled with motivating content. It's meant to be inspirational. It's like a mindset type of therapy. If you take any of these posts and take it as, like, not abusive, but like counterproductive, or like destructive, not even productive, but yeah, destructive, then no, that's not for you. It wasn't meant to be taken in that manner. So anyone getting like really pissed off about this, you know, it's not that it's not like that this account all of a sudden has it against all those people who are having extraordinary difficulties that the majority, or even just maybe not even the majority, but that many other people don't have to go through. It's not being insensitive to those people. It's not being insensitive to those situations where, you know, mental health, physical health, like if you have some sort of condition that's keeping you in a very difficult place, whether it be about your weight, your health or mood, mental health, physical health, financial health, and things like that, like your access to, you know, the same fair programs and like systems that will give you, you know, equal opportunity in life. That's not what this post is about. And whoever takes it in that manner, unfortunately, is going to read this and think it's destructive, and it won't help. But if I invite you, for those who did take it that way, for those who took this as an insult, I invite you to understand the value behind it. It wasn't meant to be condescending or like tough luck, tough. It's meant to be tough love, but it's not a tough luck statement. Like, it just means if you feel demotivated, if you feel that you've done everything in your power to take what's within your means to make the most out of it, then you should not be facing these problems, these 90% of problems that are your fault. That's what they're trying to say. So, what? Getting weird messages right now. Oh, okay, I can't answer that right now. They're still going on it. They're still going on about these guys. I wish that energy would have been put towards this post anyway. But I was trying to say, you know, any condition that you might be in. Let's say you did have choice. Let's say you did have choice. Let's just take the first one, your weight. Let's just take, for any of the people out there right now who are having issues with their weight. I mean, you could break it down to the science, make it as simple as the science. Oh, forgive me, guys. There. Oh, I gotta do that again. Sorry. Guys, you will only gain weight. Here's a very simple statement. You will only gain weight if you consume more calories a day than you burn. You will only lose weight if you consume less calories than you burn every day. That's it. Simple. That's how the body works. Okay? There's no way that you won't lose weight if you burn more calories than you consume on a daily basis. I should put this on vibration. So that's what this post is trying to get to. If for some reason you're gaining weight, if you are unhappy with the way that you appear with your weight, I'm not talking about, that was the wrong way to say it. I used the word appearance, but it's not about your appearance. If we're just looking at the numerical value of your weight and you're unhappy with it, let's say I mean, ultimately, people are not really unhappy with the number if they look in the mirror and they're happy with what they see, right? Realistically, you look in the mirror and it's either you like what you see or you don't. Okay? There's the aesthetic appeal of, like, you know, actual bone structure, facial characteristics, symmetry, you know, the size of your lips and your eyes and your nose, or the placement of your ears and all that. That's something else. Let's not look at the vanity right now. Let's not look at, you know, what you think society views as beautiful on your face. Let's just take into account your fitness, your actual, your physical fitness. You look in the mirror and you see, that looks like someone who takes care of their body. Or you look in the mirror and you say, that looks like someone who doesn't take care of their body, that's been ignoring what their body should be doing. One of the two. Okay, that's what we're looking at. You know? Yeah, there's conditions out there that make it very hard for some people to lose weight. And I know there's conditions out there too where, you know, like, it's you just can't stop eating. Let's say if it's like a mental disorder or something with appetite, or something that can't satiate your hunger, so you keep eating, and then your body, or maybe your body doesn't break down or doesn't burn as many calories as you wish. And for those individuals, I mean, those are special cases. This particular statement, your weight is a reflection of your daily habits, sorry. This is not meant to pertain to you. This this motivating line here, this push, this tough love push, wasn't meant to be read by you individuals who may have these conditions that make it very hard for you to control your weight. That statement wasn't for you. And it's not to say that we're ignoring you, or we're insensitive to the conditions that you're feeling. Obviously, you are having extenuating circumstances to how you can manage your weight. Therefore, it's going to take extenuating circumstances to deal with that. So one statement in an attempt to be a motivating response on this post on Instagram isn't going to deal with that, isn't going to address that for you. Doesn't mean there aren't solutions, but this one line statement isn't one of them. So that's what that is. Okay? But for those who do have it within the realm of control, for those who have choices in their daily habits, where they know, you know who you are out there, where you can make that choice of, all right, am I going to stay in bed this extra bit longer? Am I going to do a workout today? Am I going to have that extra piece of pizza? I eat kind of trashy. And my portion in my meals is probably going to be more than the average person. But I choose to do intermittent fasting, a choice where I will not get to eat earlier in the day, throughout the day, so that my body, whatever it is I choose to do, whether it be I go for a run, which I haven't done in a long time, I do some push-ups, which I haven't done in a long time, maybe some pull-ups, curls, squats, whatever it is, any kind of activity, the choice I made, luckily, has been intermittent fasting. So my body is burning those calories throughout the day, and then when I finally eat at night, luckily, somehow, I am not consuming more than I'm burning. If anything, I'm always around the middle. I don't know why, or maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I've figured it out. I'm not necessarily in the greatest shape that I've been. I've been in better shape. I've been stronger. I've been faster. I've been more athletic and all that stuff. I'm definitely not at peak physical health and level, but the choices I make have kept me here. I can make better choices. I can. Like I just said, I'm not at my peak. Why not? I'm not as fast or as strong or as athletic as I used to be. Why not? What's brought me here? My choices. I know within what realm of my daily routine is keeping me here. And I know what it will take to get out of it. But it's not even just the physical too, guys. Obviously, wealth, okay, yeah. Similar kind of a thing, but it's meant to be taken for those you have a job, let's say, that's your input has direct relation to your return. Commission type of workers, let's say, or even content creators, or whatever, if you want to say influencers, or even myself, or I can push and produce more videos and do more content so that I can gain more income, or I can push and do more promotions or advertise more and put more effort in putting my name out there, or networking, or reaching out to people on LinkedIn or something like that. But all those things I have a choice over that I'm choosing not to do. But I can. I don't know what it is. Ultimately, there's one thing in this list that I think it's the mood part. Number 3 is your mood. It's the most. Sorry, guys. Let me pull that back up. Number 1 was weight. 2 was wealth. But ultimately, number 3 is the biggest one here. It's your mood. You're I know how I feel at the beginning of the day when I wake up and I reach for my phone, and I just lately it's still been rough. I haven't broken out of my rut, but I'm on the mend. I am on the upswing. I don't know what it is, but positivity, motivation, inspiration, and stuff like that. I still find myself moping around at the beginning of the day, but I get these inspirations and I roll with it. I go with them. This commitment of even that's what it is to routine. Sometimes routines can be bad. If you're used to, going to bed very late, and then waking up very late. Therefore, your day's kind of like backwards, and you're just not getting the stuff done you want when you want to get them done. That's a bad routine. But there's good routines that you can introduce. This podcast, I'd have to say, is a good routine. It may not be, you know, as polished and as like intelligent and intellectual and riveting and dynamic and what's the word, like interactive as I would like it to be, you know, engaging with the audience, anyone who's watching. It may not be that, but it is active. You know what I mean? Like, I am here for the most part, except for 1 week we missed because of camping, but it's brought me to be here on a weekly basis. Initially, this podcast was meant to be a means for our crew to share and like intelligent conversations that we can refer back to and be like, you know what? Yeah, we did contribute. Mindset to like not just us as a group, but like to the community, because like I do think we're intelligent individuals in this crew, and we have a lot of great things to share. And that's the point. And I'm glad to see the more people are coming in this chat now.
Oh.
Hey.
All right, Day-Day's here.
Let me grab some water real quick.
That's
Ren's
a great
here.
idea.
Dan's here.
Sorry, one sec, just setting up.
Cool.
Uno memento.
I was doing great without you guys.
I mean, we can go if you want.
Please don't. Please don't.
I was listening while setting up. So yeah.
Oh no, thank you. It's all good, man. I have to keep going, regardless. The show must go on. Now I have an opportunity to eat some pizza.
Sorry, leave you hanging, dude.
Hello.
It's okay. You guys were on a roll. I didn't get to read the last, 30 messages, 50 messages.
Oh, from today.
Yeah, you guys are on fire today. Fuck.
Something set people. Well,
I'm just kidding.
I do think it
Curious
pertains
on,
to
who like wasn't keeping up on how many messages were actually there.
Warren can tell us later. He's like,
I bet you just skipped the whole thing.
But it's gonna tell him, right? Like how many
Yeah,
messages since he last saw it. Yeah.
Probably
Oh my
like
goodness.
250 something.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez,
Yeah,
Lloyd.
it takes multiple page ups.
Yeah, it
Anyway.
does.
It was
I was
a good
out
one.
for a walk and I looked.
What takes less data, being on Discord audio or streaming it? Discord definitely less.
Discord audio or streaming YouTube? Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, streaming YouTube is a lot.
Anything video wise is a lot. So
Oh,
I get
true.
it. I was wondering too if I should switch to streaming on Twitch and then just
You should.
uploading out on YouTube. You think?
Get more
You think?
viewers and subscribers and viewers for the time.
It seems to
being.
be a tighter community.
Yeah.
We'll try it next week then.
Especially
'Cause
like,
I can still
topics
put
like
the
this,
video
I'm
up, though.
sure have more people
Yeah.
participate and stuff.
Yeah. Ideally I could stream on both at the same time, but I don't want to pay for premium. So anyway. Okay.
All right,
then,
Mike.
Well,
Let's all yell at Mike. No, I'm just kidding.
well, no. Mike and Ren have a similar stance.
Did you
Hey.
stop talking? Oh, I didn't hear you guys.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand how I can segue. I mean, if you guys want, though, it would be cool if anyone had some, because I kind of went over it. I kind of went over the post on mindset therapy. I went over the people who are against it, and I've gone over what it's meant to say, like the message behind it. But I mean, like, Dan, can you, because we have your face here.
Can you, re-summarize it? Because I.
Oh,
totally
okay.
forgot.
You don't know? Okay, so the post, let me put it up again. It says 3 things you don't want to accept. 1, Your weight is a reflection of your daily habits. 2, your wealth is a reflection of your daily habits. 3, your mood is a reflection of your daily habits. 90% of the problems in your life are your fault. Excuses won't solve anything. So that was the
Whoa.
post on mindset therapy.
Yeah, I don't quite agree with that percentage. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, some
for
of those
sure,
are in
yeah.
your, yeah, like there, some of those are in your control, yes, but I wouldn't give it such a high value.
Cool. Is that it? Your only critique is the percentage?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been a proponent of like I read a lot of biographies and self-improvement books, and a lot of them they show you how much you can do and what you could possibly do. But what I've noticed recently is your environment controls a lot of your behaviors, environment being your immediate surroundings as well as the people you surround yourself with. Those things have a bigger influence. Like there's a great book I've just finished. It's called You're Invited by John Levy. Really good book. The behavioral scientist cites a lot of good nuggets about how your environment influences your behaviors, which ties into what was said in that post that you guys are talking about.
Mhm.
But like you have control over, but your environment has control over you. So if you don't control your environment, it'll control you, is what I'm saying.
So could you agree that if you're able to control your environment, that could subsequently affect everything else, right? Because if you say your environment
Yes.
has a good effect on you, then the choices of the people you hang out with and the things that you surround yourself with,
Yep.
you do have control over that, right?
Yes, to a degree. I think people have mental and emotional blind spots. I think like it's generally accepted that there is a limited amount of cognitive power that a person has during the day. What was it called before? Ego depletion, I think, is the term. Ego depletion. Like you can only make a certain amount of decisions a day. That's why at the end of the day, you're usually tired as hell. Even if you're not doing a physical job, even if you're doing like an information job, like a knowledge work, sorry, you
Mhm.
still feel tired because you're making all these decisions on the go. So you still have these blind spots, and the more decisions or the more tired you are by the end of the day, the less likely you can make decisions at the end of the day for the healthy choice. Or say you're living in an abusive relationship. This is really weird. I don't know why I segued to that. But
There's something you have to tell us.
no.
Say
Wink, wink.
carrots if you know
Don't.
if you face domestic violence.
What?
Say the word carrots.
Carrot cake. um yeah, so like we have these emotional blind spots. So it goes back to like human biases, like mental biases that we have that prevent us from making the decisions that we want to better improve ourselves. Like we're not gonna. I think the biggest one is loss aversion that we have. The biggest mental bias. Like we don't want to lose any source of or any sense of stability in our lives. This is why people don't move cities, they don't move towns, they don't try new things. Is because they're afraid of losing that stability, because the fear of losing something always outweighs the potential hope of gaining something, if that makes sense. Um, so like changing like an abusive relationship, like I was talking about, it's harder to leave because you're so emotionally invested and you have some sort of stability in that relationship. Like at least they come home every night, even though it's not the best relationship. It's you have a place to stay, you have food to eat, but you stay in it because you're already emotionally invested in that thing. So I think yes, you can control your environment, but you have to also identify your mental biases that you have, because all these blind spots prevent you from making those changes. And I think that's why I don't agree with the percentage that said 90% of it is in your control or your fault. Because sometimes we're born into these things, like abusive parents, right? Like you don't choose who you're born to, or you don't choose where you grow up. Like these sort of things, like they influence your life dramatically. So you can't you can't say that you have full control over it, especially if it's a blind spot, because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah, and I definitely agree, and so the only thing I would say is so your main concern is like the percentage, right? 90%. Um, but if that high of a percentage wasn't there, like if it were to say like, the majority, or like just along the lines of there are a lot of things that you can control to an extent, maybe not as high, but a lot of the things, for the majority of people, I think you can control.
Yeah.
And like
I,
I'm not.
it's hard to say majority though, right? Like, there's no statistics on this. And if you say majority, like if you're thinking worldwide, a lot of people don't have control of their environments.
Okay, and that's
In the
that's
Western
fair.
world, yeah.
And that's something I was like, because I don't know if FJ mentioned it, but someone had messaged me regarding this post, just
Mm,
talking about, I guess it was that portion of it. And the only reason why I posted it is because I am a firm believer in like your thoughts of
mm.
what you want to do with yourself highly influence your whole life. Um,
Yes, I
there
agree.
are for sure cases that are very different. Like I'm not gonna speak to something I don't understand and have been fortunate enough not to go through. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, I know there's a ton of cases where people might use examples like that as an excuse for themselves, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
For example, like if someone, you can have bad genetics and have, a really tough time with, your weight control or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
that's I'm not saying that it's not possible for things like that to happen. It might be a lot harder for that person, but it doesn't stop them from making specific choices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But I think
at the end of the day, like if two people, one person does have weight control issues, for example, or can't metabolize food as quickly as another, um, if they are still deciding what to eat for dinner and they have the choice between fast food or eating something healthier, that's still the same choice, you know? And that's how
fair.
I viewed this statement is regardless of your situation, if you're not happy with your weight or your wealth or your mood, you can make at least some decisions to help improve your lifestyle. Maybe it'll prove as fast as another person, maybe it won't, but I still believe that you can make small improvements, and those small improvements add over time to
Yeah. I
whatever.
think the hard part though is, as a culture, we've been conditioned to believe it has to be all or nothing. Like the small improvements sometimes are not small enough for people. Like if you're, say you're depressed, right? And when you're actually depressed, you have like no motivation to do anything. Like literally no motivation. Like you don't get out of bed. It's hard to do that one small thing. Like say, oh, I'll just do a push up. You're like, you can't even get out of bed, right? Like it's not. I think the framing of that question or that post made it seem like you're not super fit. Like you have to be super fit, and it's your fault that you're not super fit. Whereas what I think you're saying is that you can make the small improvements, and I'm like, I totally agree with that. I think the wording could have been better, but it's not as clickbaity if you say it the way you said it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why it's controversial, like that. Why it could have been controversial.
And that's fair. And that's why I wanted to talk about this too, is because um it's just like, and that I think that's the issue with today's society, right? Is people will see news, they'll see articles, they'll read a post on social media, and a lot of people will take it at face value and
Mm.
not look at it from a either broader perspective, or look at it in a way to look for self improvement, or look at it in a way that will help them. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think just because I'm like you, Ren. Like I know there's a bit of time where we spent a lot of time together, talking a lot of personal development and things like that. We were reading, a lot of the same books,
Yeah.
and with that in mind, I think we talked about this before when we said like all the books of personal development have the same kind of message of like positive reinforcement, your attitude, how you look at things, um, not looking at things from like a pessimistic perspective, but more of an optimistic.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's that kind of mindset shift that makes the difference of when if I were to post things, it's not because I would say like if you don't look like an Olympic athlete, then you're a terrible person and you have to fix your habits. Um,
I
but
think
yeah,
that's the difficult part, though, right? It's like we have all this news and we're all isolated in our spaces where we read the news and we can't have these discussions with people. So it's harder to understand the context of the posts that are happening because there is, whenever we write something or publish something or put something up on the internet, there is a bunch of context that we're leaving out. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that we're not reading into, but
Mhm.
because we're isolated, we can't see what the bigger context is, and it makes it harder for people to digest that, right? It's just it feels like I have to go 0 to 100 without learning how to walk first, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I like um
These conversations.
yeah, like it makes such a difference. Like when people think that small things don't make a difference, um like this is probably the perfect example. Like I post this on my social media. I don't have that many people that follow me.
Mm.
Um and it's of all those people that follow me, one person sent me a message and then we had a good conversation about it, and we got to talk about the different contexts and how our viewpoints were, and we're able to like you're like, yeah, like I understand, where you're coming from. I never thought about it that way, and that makes a lot of sense. And now it was, hey guys, like, I sent a message. Someone sent me a message about this. Do you want to talk about this cast? And that one small post that I did, last week is something that now we can talk about on FJ's cast. And it's like, who knows who can,
This is our cast.
hear this. And
It's on
and
FJ5 though.
when FJ posted on YouTube and social media, and and it was just the one small action of, just posting it to a story that, now it's kind of bled into having an open conversation and talking more about these things. So I thought
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was pretty neat.
it resonated with you. You reposted it and shared it. Resonated with me, and I reacted to it too. And yeah, now it's today's topic. Uh, does anyone else want to also give their 2 cents about this post? Dede?
Um, I it's kind of similar for me. It doesn't really uh the focus shouldn't really be where you're at right now. Like it's what you're doing to get out of that or change that situation that you're particularly stuck in, whether it be wealth, health, or whatever, right? I've said this before. If you I really believe, like there's so many of those like cliche posts and like saying to try and give you like inspiration or motivation, but they all sound kind of like you know
Wishy-washy.
yeah. The one when I heard the saying, I don't know where I read it, but when I read uh a post that said, if you are born poor, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault.
Usually
That
attributed to
resonated.
Bill Gates.
Oh, that's Bill Gates?
Usually, I don't think it's
Oh,
actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually him.
okay. Well, yeah, when I read that, I was like that actually made sense. And it was like, oh yeah, that's so true. You know? And there's so many people who are going to, live their lives and and end up not getting what they want or what they hoped. And there's gonna be people. There's gonna be two different types of people. There's gonna be type A, where they start looking for excuses. Oh, it's because of this that I didn't do this. It's because of that I didn't get that. And then there's gonna be, type B people who actually don't really care about that and just do it and get it done.
Sounds more like the other way around. The type A was the type B.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I
That's
was
what
thinking that too. I'm like, wait a minute.
He didn't say type A as type A.
Yeah.
Is type A
Not
usually
personality
the
type.
good ones?
It's like
Uh,
the alpha. The alpha. right?
Oh,
Like
okay.
Yeah. The nitpicker.
But
Or
But
the,
yeah, like I agree with what Ren said about the whole environment and the importance of changing the environment. That's definitely true.
yeah, it definitely
So
helps. Like, uh, I guess for transparency, that is exactly what I did. Like,
if you pour
I
and pour, it is not your mistake. But okay.
you're like, I gotta change the environment, and then just dipped. What did you see that?
I went to Vancouver. I'm like, yeah, like I do appreciate Toronto for what it was, but it wasn't the place for me. So I tried
Mm,
something different,
mm,
and
Mm.
it fit pretty well when I moved to Vancouver. Like, I found more people interested in the same things I was, and I found out a lot about myself as well. Like, oh, I do like being outdoors. I like going for runs. I like hiking. I like doing Tough Mudders or Spartans. It's like you find these things out about yourself, especially when you remove yourself from a situation, because you start to see your blind spots when you change your environment. I feel like you learn more as long as you give yourself time to think about it. Like you could just repeat the same mistakes in a new place, like binge drinking
Yeah.
or something, but it helps to change your environment, to change who you are, if you want to. I mean, it's up to you. It's if you really. And moving cities is probably a really big step. You probably don't need to go that crazy, but small steps, like join a community locally that you haven't been to before.
I like that. I think the biggest line for me that I like there, well, not the biggest, but I really like that excuses portion, because I find today that not everyone, but a lot of people will create excuses
Mhm.
that aren't necessarily merited. Um, for example, I see an easy example. I talk to so many teachers that say that the students that are in their class, their parents diagnose them with a learning disability when they clearly don't have one. Do people have
Oh.
learning disabilities? Absolutely. But do 90% of the kids in that class have a diagnosed learning disability? I don't think that's correct. I think that's an excuse that was made. And it's something like that, that's where if things that are like if people hear things, um it's a lot easier to use an excuse if it's not necessarily in their case. It's a lot easier to use that as an excuse to blame something that you're not accepting in your life rather than
Mm.
make a change. Does it have to be a
Yeah.
big change or small change? That's another viewpoint of what I liked about that.
One thing I would have to say, just as like a side note or caveat, is a lot of times it's not the parents diagnosing or using that excuse. I think if Kyle were here too, he'd probably say the darker side of what it could be, where a lot of doctors apparently are quick to diagnose it given certain symptoms. And of course, there's that conspiracy side where it's because if you diagnose it, you can then prescribe a certain drug, and there's incentives with that particular company with that drug. So it's a profit type of thing. So apparently this diagnosis is thrown around. I'm going to say thrown around. Who knows? Maybe it is accurate, but it is used a lot more these days. And probably that's why more teachers are noticing, and they're seeing that that is something that's happening, and they're resorting to that, and it's unfortunate. But I completely agree with what you're saying, though, where it's easy to resort to an excuse that's outside the realm of control, because then that excuse is
It's
just
less
it's
work
easy.
for you.
It's
It
easy.
justifies
It's
why you don't have
yeah.
to do something.
Mhm.
Like, I know
Uh,
that's a very crude example, but I mean, it's
yeah.
it can be applied to other areas, but it's just something that was
Mhm.
easy that just came up to my mind
Mhm.
type thing. I'm sure we can delve into that, and we have done in like other podcasts, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to throw it off on a tangent. But yeah,
Is Mike busy? Is like he can't be in the call, like
I think he may not be.
available? Okay, I wanted to go around. That's what, well, because if you want to say something, you can, but I wanted to go around everybody and ask individually. I mean, Mike, sorry, Dan, I already know your answer, but when you read this post, did you take it positively? Dan?
Oh, me? Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
okay. Ren?
I think it's dismissive.
Was it it's dismissed? Oh, it's kind of neutral. It didn't really push or demotivate you or like insult you?
I think it's more like,
You knew that already?
yeah, I knew that already, but I think it's like it's missing context. Like
Okay.
you can't
Okay.
just say 90%. You know, it's just that's all. It's probably an arbitrary number too. Like, have
It
they actually
is.
done statistics on that? You know,
I'm pretty sure 90 is arbitrary. Okay, Dede. When
I
you
just
came
kind of
across it the first time, did you think it was yeah, or was it like nah, or was it meh?
it was like okay, and then the last part, excuses won't solve anything. That I agree completely. So I was
Okay,
like, yeah, okay,
that's true.
sure.
Yeah.
like I
But yeah,
looked
the
at
whole
this.
oh, sorry, I was just saying the whole number thing. I didn't really put much thought into that one.
I was the
Right,
same.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't the
So
number that like intrigued me.
it because it became the topic of this week's cast, and we agreed on that. I started reading the comments, like the responses from other people who saw it, and some certain people. Oh, you liked it too, Dede. I see that. Some people were like, "Ouch, that's a big slap in the face," and someone even said, "You just earned yourself an unfollower with this post." You know, they took it almost like an insult. And then you get the others who go a little bit deeper and explain why. You know, like I read this earlier, but you know, someone said maybe true in some cases, but this post doesn't take trauma responses into account, grief responses, mental health conditions, situations outside someone's control. It actually just sounds blaming, judgmental, and very smug. Toxic positivity is real. So,
Oh yeah.
this account is mindset therapy, right? So I just want, I guess, to like the account isn't
therapist?
made.
Are they a therapist? Are they a therapist?
No, it's just it's like Monday motivational quotes. It's basically just an account that posts motivational things,
Sorry,
images,
who
clips. Yeah.
who said that you just gained you just lost a follow or
Unfollow.
whatever? Someone said that to you?
No, someone
No,
wrote that
in
in
the
one of the
comments.
comments of mindset
Oh,
therapy, like in the comments for this post,
I
right?
see.
So some people took this and it was like insulting to them. Like it was like
Yeah,
it
because they
didn't push
probably got
them.
called out.
Well,
They got
no,
called
because
out. That's probably
if you
they're like, oh fuck this guy, and then they just unfollow.
nah, man, if you get called out, that's a positive response. That then you know it hit you in that sense. Like
Yeah, but
if
most people when they read something like that and they're actually those people that make excuses, they're not gonna go read that and go, "Oh wow, he's right." They're gonna go, "Who the fuck are you to tell me?" Blah blah blah. Unfollow. That's what they'll do.
yeah, you're right. Exactly. So do you think that post was meant for them?
Oh,
No. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I was trying to get to. I mean, not that I'm glad you put it in that premise. You're right. Like this is a an account where for the most part, I mean, I haven't gone through every freaking post, but like it's trying to motivate people on a regular basis, positive and reinforcement. So anyone who's taking it as an insult or something and anything further than a motivational push like tough love, it's not meant for them. Would you agree or no?
It's not
Like if
meant
someone
for them.
unfollowed, yeah, it wasn't meant to be like that wasn't the target audience.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't
whether
know.
they
He
like
sounds
it
like
or
he's
not.
trying to blame people. Sorry.
Yeah.
Were you saying,
Who
Data?
does who's trying to blame the poster?
Yeah, the poster is trying to like shame people, and we all know shaming doesn't work.
Shame people.
I guess it depends on how you take it. And that was what I was talking about with the person who messaged me was like when people see a post, you can react to it in two different ways. You can look at it as yeah, that's right. Like I'm in control, I can make changes, so that's what I got to do. Or you can look at it as okay, this is messed up. Like why would someone post this? I don't care about this stuff. Like
Yeah.
I guess that's like
Can
anything. Like if you see my thing and it says you are in control, I'm sure there's people who are gonna look at it in a negative light and be like, "Who's this guy think he is?" And saying that I'm not in control of my life, or there's always two ways to take it.
Yeah. See. Okay.
Fair.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
was gonna
Sam.
ask
No,
a
that's
question. But
Go
go ahead.
Because you said that, I went and checked out the comment, and it is because the person is overweight. They've been overweight their entire life, and they've tried everything to fix it. I am active, I eat healthy, and I even had a personal trainer. Blah blah blah. Excuses and excuses. There are no answers. So and then basically their point is you don't know until you've walked in someone else's shoes. Blah blah blah. Sure, you can change things, but this blanket statement is ignorant. See, they took it they took it offensively because they got called out. You
Okay.
can't say you've tried everything unless you have actually tried everything. I don't believe
Well,
for a second that
this
this person has
person-
tried everything. I don't.
I know you don't believe
Well,
that
if
because you're
she
the one
believes
calling.
she's tried everything.
She believes it, right? So you're only
yes.
called out. You can actually only be called out if you can admit to it. If you could admit that the call out is true. She's not. She's not admitting that this thing called her out. She's actually rejecting it. Like it's not true. Like when you call someone out, it's because it's obvious and you caught them and they know it.
Yeah.
So that's not what's happened to that lady or whoever it was. Like she's rejecting it because she believes it's false and insensitive. My question to Ren was, you said it's shaming people. So,
It sounds a little like blamey.
well, I mean, it's even in there, the word excuse, right? So, but Ren, who do you picture the target audience is?
I think it was meant to get a rise from people, both from people that don't agree with it and those that do agree with it. I think they just wanted to clickbait because it's obviously not well worded.
Yeah, and then there's the guy who says truth hurts. People would rather live in denial and blame everybody else, which is why they will always stay the same. I agree completely.
Okay.
I don't quite agree with that. But okay.
I read this within 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And it was enough for me to respond to Dan's post, and I think I clapped or I said 100. One of those. One of the emojis. Clap, 100, or fire. One of those. Because it was a reminder for me that I am stuck in my rut because of me. Like, I am my cause for where I am, and I know it's within my realm of control to get out of it. So I'm happy I saw it. It's a nice reminder. It's like, yeah, man, kick myself out of the... And you're right. When you're depressed, you wake up in bed, and you can't even get up. So how am I going to do a push-up or run 5K or like make a video or something, anything, right?
Yeah.
But then, yes, you take this, I don't even like using the word grain of salt, but it's not that it's insensitive to those who can't relate to it. But I do, you're right. I didn't consider that maybe this whole webpage just wants positive and negative
media
publicity.
attention.
Media attention, yeah, publicity, right? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna be hopeful and positive and think that overall this page is trying to be good and do good on a more daily basis. But you're right, I could be wrong. I didn't take it like that at all.
I think like they probably think they're like this is the only truth. you know. So it's just they're operating on what they think is right. So I don't think it's
Well, yeah, when
it's
you
wrong.
like another post, just a few like the one right after is David Goggins. So like
Shit.
when you have a David Goggins type of mentality, I can't even really resonate with that guy. Like I know he resonates though with Warren and he resonates with Kyle, but it doesn't really work with me. For you know, I stay hard. Like no, no thanks. You know, like, I don't. That's not for
You should
that's
go to
not
the
for
doctor
me.
for that.
So, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's hard because if you really wanted to have a person think and like think critically about something, you don't shame them. Like you don't make it seem like somebody's at fault, like especially the person themselves, because
Mhm.
then somebody goes into fight or flight mode, and then they become defensive. They close their mind and they won't hear what you're saying, and that is like a more subtle approach, but it's definitely not going to get more clicks either. People build these things like the reason why the YouTube algorithm or all these things are skewed a certain way is because this proves to get more attention. It's not if it's good attention or bad attention, it's just attention. So people create more and more posts that just get more attention, whether it's right, wrong, good, bad. You know what I mean? It's like the
Okay,
incentives are aligned for this.
what about
I
drill
can see that,
sergeants?
but then in the same turn, when I repost, I don't post for clickbait
That
or
yeah,
to
that's
shame
true.
anybody or
I
to
didn't think
call
about
people
that.
out. It's a motivational thing for me because I that's something I resonate and I feel like I can make
Yeah.
decisions to
Mm.
help better my life, and that's a message that I like to share. It's not meant to
Yeah.
say, you know,
It's a
for
value,
everyone
yeah.
who's seeing this, get your shit
I thi-
together. It's your fault for all the shit that's happening.
I think it's
No, it's a
it's because
yeah,
you
like,
understand the context, though. Like I think some people don't understand the context because
Which
you probably
which
have.
is what I meant
Sorry.
that I don't think it's for them. Like I don't think that's the target audience. That's what I mean.
There. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off though. Go.
Might be. What? No, I totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad.
Like what he's saying, I think is I understand because he's saying basically the way that this message was portrayed is not meant for the like soft-hearted per se, right? Like the ones that kind of just be like, oh, like who are you to tell me this, and like take it super like personal and offensive because they're just not used to like the way that you motivate those type of people. This is like the last like thing you do, like you like
Yeah.
aggravate them, right? And then there's the
Yeah.
type of people like Dan who like read that shit and it's like, holy crap, like that's a slap in the face. Okay, I gotta go like do a push-up now or something, like like it's not meant
Yeah.
for
yeah,
everybody
it's
for
like
sure,
you need to
but
get your shit together.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like yeah, that I understand, but at the same time, just because I'm kind of in that category too. Like if I were to read something, if I want something to motivate me, it has to be like something.
A slap in
Uh,
the face.
yeah, like it can't be like, oh, like you should do this and you should do that and you should do this. Like I don't.
Okay.
If I have that, then I'm just not gonna read it. It's like, oh, this is too long. But if it's
Mm,
like just a
fair.
simple like, hey, excuses don't solve anything. Get your shit together. Like that type of like one liner will get me.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So you're
Okay,
into
my
the kinky shit.
question. My
What's what?
question though,
I'm kidding.
I
Go on.
So-
Sorry.
didn't-
Okay.
Ren too is again the following post is David Goggins. So with that in mind,
Sorry, who's
the
David
whole
Goggins?
drill start. He used to be super fat, and he did like the marine thing, like I don't know, multiple times. He's just
he's like super jack now, and
yeah. He's
crazy.
the guy who says stay hard, and like he puts himself through really rigorous exercises.
There's like ultra marathons and like
yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
SEAL training 3 times for no reason.
yeah, that's what it was. So okay, well with that in mind, Ren, like the drill sergeant, like you got your squad, and they're all like, drop and give me 100 or whatever, and he's just yelling in your face like you can't do anymore, you're weak, you suck. He's like, like you need to go back home, and that kind of somewhat negative reinforcement leading to them pushing through and thriving and overcoming the extra little bit of hump.
Yeah.
So-
So okay. My thing with that is, if you go to SEAL training, they are filtering for people, and I get it. Like, these posts probably are to filter out who their target market is as well, right? Because you can't cater to everybody, and everybody's at different stages of personal development. So I think it is probably a good way to filter people out. It's kind of like what they do at school, right? Like, they make you do some crazy shit.
Well,
Projects.
here's what I would say. Like, for example, that person who unfollowed because of this post. How long were they following? How many of the other posts did they read? All of a sudden, they see the one post that pisses them off, and they take it that way. Like, then I think that's a them issue. For example, I know
Yeah.
David Dawkins is the post before, but I'm looking at these. One of them says, "Reset, restart, refocus as many times as you need to."
Well, that's very forgiving.
That in no way is like it's your
David
fault type.
Goggins. Yeah.
Another one says, "I saw you at your worst, still think you're the best." That's a very positive, uplifting, and you know what I mean? Like, not all of these
Yeah.
are super like slap in the face, get your shit together, go do something. like
Yeah.
there's a wide variety. They're all meant for, like FJ said, and they even have hashtags, motivation. So if you see the one post that you don't like and you take it super offensively, then I don't know. I think that's a your mindset type thing. Is how come
Yeah.
all of the other messages you're okay with, and then the one
I
message
think it's like, it depends.
Because they didn't
Yeah,
like
it
the
depends on
approach,
where they're
Dan.
at.
That's why. They didn't like the approach.
Yeah,
Well,
it
because
didn't suit.
Here's what I say, because if all the other messages are meant to be motivating, even if this wasn't worded correctly, and I'll agree. Like, I understand the viewpoints. Like, I see like how people can see this as controversial. I'm not disagreeing with that. It's, if you know that you're on this account, and like I follow this, and I know that it's meant to be motivational, is there a way that I can look at the message, even if it's worded incorrectly? Maybe they're just trying to say something motivational. You know what I mean?
I agree, but at the same time, for people that are gonna react that way, you really think they're gonna read that, and then first thought is gonna be, let me look at all the other posts and see
No,
if I
but
like them.
well, specifically for the person who unfollowed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
means
yeah.
they read a post previously and said, "Wow, I like this post.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow this account."
Yeah, and I
Right?
bet you, on the day that they unfollow just happens to be their cheat day.
Probably.
Like,
I mean,
I
when
mean,
you're hangry, right?
or
Yeah.
maybe they're at like their worst. For example, they could be at their worst weight, and they see this and they're like, "F that. I don't accept this." I read this on the day of my worst weight ever. Like, on Monday, like I was at my peak, I think, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
A new peak.
And like I've had this
I have
like
new peak every
mindset.
day.
Like, I knew I was peaking. Oh, it was bad. Like, dude, I almost hit 180. Like, I was like just under 180, 179, and I've never been that high. And I'm like, holy crap! Like, I knew it was getting bad, but like, and then I saw this, and I'm like, okay, like I got to do something. So Monday is, when I started doing insanity again, is when I started intermitting again. I started,
Damn.
making conscious decisions about my diet, and I made those small
worked.
changes, and now I've lost like 5-6 pounds since then. So I mean,
Hey,
I don't know, like it's something, it's small steps, and that's what I mean. If someone is at their worst weight and they see that and they unfollow, sure, they can take it the bad way. I'm just the example of the guy who saw this and said, "You know what? Yeah, like I have to make decisions," and it worked for me. It was a positive thing that I saw. So I don't know. Two ways to take it. I guess it just depends on how you want to process the message.
Yeah, agreed. I think it depends on where you're at in your life, right?
Like, are people just generally easily offended now these days? That's the
Yes.
tone everyone says. That everyone's just so quick to cancel because they're so easily offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This entitlement
so.
of opinion.
Did you guys? Oh, dude, that reminds me. There was this post, a Twitter post that went viral because, it was after the Super Bowl. How the Tom Brady or whatever, he was celebrating the their win by throwing the championship trophy from like one boat to another boat. Like they both had teammates in them, and then they were just like partying and celebrating. And
Yeah.
then the person who is who's like the granddaughter of the one that created that trophy demanded a public apology from Tom Brady because she was offended. Like I was
So
like, what the
stupid.
fuck? Like,
Okay.
Dumb.
this is
Wow.
and it went so viral on Twitter. Like everybody was talking about it for like 2 days. It's like, yeah, congratulations, you got your 20-second of fame. Like now everybody
Oh
thinks
my
you're a
God.
lunatic. Like it's
Was her name Karen?
I don't know, but man, when
Oh
I
my
read
God.
that, I was like, really? Like,
What?
so
Disrespecting a trophy?
yeah,
So
yeah.
dumb.
They're like, oh, my grandfather put his entire life's work and blah blah blah, and it's like that.
Yeah, I mean, like she's had
Yeah.
many years of celebrating how nice it was. Like, if
Yeah.
somebody throws it around once in a while, I'm like, that's fine, man. Like, I'm getting paid for this. I get
Well,
royalties.
she's the granddaughter too. It's like, who are you? Who are you? Like,
Look, if
what
no,
is
yeah,
your
listen, yeah, yeah.
affiliation?
If the grandfather, the actual person, said that, then okay, then maybe.
Still doesn't
You know?
deserve one, but like, I can
Yeah,
see him
but it's like
complaining.
it's like oh shit, he's the dude who made the trophy. Okay, then yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I can kind of see where he's coming. But you're the like, who are you? Like,
Yeah. It's like, did you even know him? Like, anyway,
Yeah.
I get it. I get what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So I completely agree. Everybody is super sensitive, especially online these days, and it's like,
I feel like
Again-
there's some news you just don't need to hear.
yes, but that like it's like that also adds to the whole no faith in humanity kind of thing. It's like
I think a lot of the news we need to hear is the news we don't hear because they'd rather us hear the stuff that we can fight about. The focus is always stuff we can fight about because it gets more publicity, more shares, more clicks, which is annoying because that's not the news I want to know. So I end up having to look for the news I want to know.
Brent dropped. Brent's still here.
No, I'm back now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all good. Wait,
But
yeah, totally missed FJ's point though.
Oh.
And that is that. What did I say? Oh no, like news is focused on, like the media focuses on news that we can fight about because that gets them more shareability and traction and engagement rather than the news we need to know about, the stuff that
Yeah.
actually matters. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate,
It's just
but that's what sells.
incentive. Yeah. The incentives are misaligned.
So on that note, segue. Shall we?
Well, it's hard because Mike is not here. If that's what you were trying to
Yeah.
segue into.
Because I do want to. I missed like the last. Okay, he can still type. So.
Brent's got this. Okay.
So, one of the comments in this post I did read to, along with mental health conditions, or let's say like physical conditions, genetic conditions, so like the wealth aspect. So, yeah, it's also within the realm of like the class that you're born in, the neighborhood, the country. So, someone brought up systemic racism in the comments, and so we dove into that into the chat today, and we were brought back to the riots of the Black Lives Matter protests. First peaceful protests led to violent protests and the rioting and vandalism of public property and innocent people getting hurt. And there's one stance where you do not condone rioting or violence, but you can understand I don't even know if the word is empathize, but you're not condemning it. You're not condemning the violence and the actions of vandalism because you can empathize and understand the hurt and pain and suffering that has led to that point where they did not have a choice in the matter. So these individuals who took
Wait,
part
no,
in the
no.
rioting, what? Sorry, they did have a choice. Wait, what?
No. Okay, I'm gonna need you to repeat this because I need to focus.
So-
go from the top. Sorry.
So with a,
And I'll need some
the-
definitions after.
the years of oppression and the years of being held back through systemic racism and police brutality and racism in North America has led to even more deaths and more murders and more injustice that has brought the black community to a point where they can no longer tolerate and continue trying peaceful methods where they've resorted to rioting and violence
Okay.
because they ran out. They
move on,
didn't have a choice anymore. Yeah,
Um,
FJ biased. What do you want me to say? I'm trying to be as neutral. Did I
no,
do
okay,
that
no,
unjustly,
okay, no,
Mike?
no, it's okay. Mike is just yanking your chain.
Yep.
So this is working on the assumption that people in the BLM movement, just the BLM movement, are causing the riots. Are we assuming that correct? Are we on the same page for that?
No, I think
I fully understand that a lot of
the
people who
stance was
Okay.
rioting and violence shouldn't be tolerated for any reason. That was the stance that some of us
Okay.
had, regardless of the background. Not dismissing the background, but
Okay.
Mhm.
regardless of the background, riots and violence against the innocent is never
Okay.
a solution.
Okay. Okay. So some questions then. What, in this context, what are we calling a riot, and what are examples of violence as well?
rioting
so we're
would
on the
be
same page.
destruction of public property,
Okay.
and violence towards innocent is literally people getting beat up.
Innocent getting
or the potential of them getting hurt because their car's on fire, all the good stuff, all that
Well,
good
yeah,
stuff.
that's
All that good stuff.
destruction of public property, like destruction of
Yes,
even private property. Yeah, like
yes, yes, yes.
destruction.
Okay.
Rioting is
I
not
think you're
equivalent to protesting.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
correct.
It is not equivalent.
What's the difference? What's the difference in this case?
Protesting? Protesting is
Protesting doesn't involve destruction.
yeah.
It's a
it's for
form
a
of
cause.
protest.
Oh yeah. No, you can
Whoa.
resort to rioting, but
Uh-huh.
the protest at that point is not the focus. wouldn't say it's-
There's violent protests and there's peaceful protests.
Yes.
And violent protests are riots, right?
And I don't think
well-
either of them work. But
So okay, this is actually an eye opener for me because not this, but this example I'm about to tell you about. Nelson Mandela tried the same thing in South Africa.
mhm.
Like I read his autobiography. It was really good, really long. Oh my God, Long Walk to Freedom. Took me weeks to get through that. So they tried peaceful methods for years. It was getting nowhere, and then they moved into what
Power.
we describe right now as a violent protest.
Oh, okay.
They did not target people, but they targeted public institutions strategically.
Like
Yes.
malls.
No.
No, like public institutions. Like they boycotted the buses. That's one peaceful protest. Another way was they bombed. Forget which buildings. I think it was like might have been Hydro. No, it was one of the public buildings, like public utilities or something. But they had
Okay.
to resort. Like Nelson Mandela was saying that they tried peaceful protest. It did not work.
Mhm.
And that is why they had to resort to this. Like they purposely targeted buildings where there were little to no people, I believe, when they were doing this.
Mhm.
and that's actually what sent him to jail that first time, and not the first time, but for a long time. But
Mhm.
it also, yes, it did not work, but I'm going with this. Yes, it did not work,
So,
but it is still a path. But yes, I think
but
the line that we all agreed on is that the moment you directly hurt an individual human being, being like a taser or shot or like getting punched in the face, that is wrong. I believe that. But violence towards public institutions, like actually the buildings themselves and not people, that is something that I'm
that's
not condemning specifically. That's
But that's not
targeting the
rioting,
system.
though.
but that's not
That's not
rioting.
that's not
But
rioting,
that's
though.
but according to what the definition
Okay, do you
I
want me
just
to
asked
do you want me to
earlier.
do you want me to redefine what rioting then is? Because would
Yeah,
you
I
count
mean, like,
that as
it really
would you count
helps.
that
Yeah.
would you count that as rioting though? Because it's controlled, it's planned,
I'm-
it's
I'm
like
saying
actually like
it's violence, but not towards an individual.
okay. Well, what's
And
rioting to
that's
you?
why rioting, it does fall across the same lines where you're breaking public things and you could potentially hurt people. But what I'm discussing right now is there's a difference. Rioting is a subset of violent protest, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
riot
Like I
is
feel
a
like
subset of a violent protest.
yeah,
So
because
it
violence.
is violence.
Yeah,
it's part of it. Is he saying?
yeah, because you are.
And
Well-
and
That was the
and
definition.
and
Right.
because you say this they tried to target specifically the buildings and places that had the little people, right?
Little
But
to no people, I believe. I don't know
right,
if they was completely empty, so I can't really say that.
right. But
Okay.
if we were to say that they carried it out that way, but that still caused harm to those people, is that
What do you mean by harm?
Like let's say
like they
little
got
to no
hurt?
people in that building, but some people got hurt.
Yeah.
So is it still cool?
This is like the prisoner's dilemma, right? Like it's a philosophical thing that you can't really
Well, I would say
answer.
no.
It's like
It's very simple.
like,
No,
you-
I'd say
It's
no.
a
It's
very
not cool.
simple question.
Because if you attempted not to hurt anyone, like it's
Yes.
within the plan. Let's say it's not even a riot. It's not anarchy. It's not, it's not randomized actions of violence. It's actually like a plan of action to attack a political and like
Mhm.
a building of
Institution.
power that symbolizes something, an institution that actually can make a
Yeah.
difference in the economy or something like that, to make a stance that way. And
Yeah.
you made every effort to not hurt anyone, but you did. Then no,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
simple
that
no. Like,
crosses the-
it's still
it does
wrong.
cross
Like,
the line. Yes, it that is where my line is, and I think that's where we're all at. I'm just saying that violence, like to an institution, to a building, to
okay,
something that
Okay.
represents something,
okay,
I don't condemn that, but I
So-
don't agree with.
okay. Wait, I'll let
Go
Dan
on.
should say.
I
He
can
didn't say
wait.
something in a while. Yeah, you can say. So. I have stuff too, but go ahead.
Okay, okay, so here's what I would say then. Like, because that's, if they did those things in the past, and then we have these peaceful protests that turn into riots and violence.
Yeah.
I would hate to think that they used that example to justify rioting unplanned where they were. Just
I think that that's obviously wrong, and I think
so
we're
that-
on the
I
same
think
page for
that
that,
was
though.
The idea is like I'm not trying to dismiss what happened in the past, but I wouldn't want people to use examples like that where they took and they planned things out and they tried to target and not hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But then they just use that excuse to, F shit up.
Yeah, it's like let's
Yeah.
go loot Target. So
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, no, I think we are on the same page about violence to an individual is wrong. We're on that. I think the condemning part, like the act of you actually say shunning a group of people or shaming a group
rioted?
of people is
Who
who
rioted?
rioted. Yeah,
Why?
that's something.
Why? Who are we to condemn
I
them?
mean-
People with morals who wouldn't have done it. Like I can't condemn them if I took like sorry, I'm very vocal. Earlier,
Take a breathe.
the parable of whoever is without sin cast the first stone, right?
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that earlier. Whoever is
Yeah.
without sin
Is that from the Bible?
cast the first stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were about to stone Mary
I
Magdalene.
think Saint Stephen.
Some girl. It was some girl, right?
It was
An
I
adulterer,
think it was
I don't know
I
who
think it
it
was
was.
Mary
It might be Mary
Magdalene.
Magdalene.
Yeah, and because she was like
the
a prostitute, I
prostitute,
think.
yeah.
And women and the men were about to stone her to death, and then Jesus stood in front and said, "Whoever's without sin, cast the first stone." And that was referred to earlier in today's chat.
Yeah.
So whoever is without sin, but in this sense, we are condemning rioting, right?
Yeah.
And so, who are we? Well, did we riot? Are we for rioting and will we riot? No. So I can cast the stone because I didn't riot and I wouldn't riot. I am therefore eligible by that parable anyway to cast the stone. Am I not?
Whenever I
I-
hear that story, I always think I don't know why, but I always picture like if it went the other way and everybody started throwing the stones.
Everyone just started throwing stones anyway. They're like, I don't have sin.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
the moment he says the ones without sin throw a stone and then everybody
all these kids start picking up throw stones.
Oh man.
Okay,
look,
Mike
I think-
says. Okay, go ahead.
Oh wait. Let's go with what Mike says first.
Sorry, what did
He
Mike say?
He wrote, "Are you so sure that you would not do it if you experienced the same experiences that the marginalized black people had to go through?" And I have an answer for this.
I said
No.
yes.
No, hold on. No, I'm not sure. But that doesn't make me right. I would still
Yeah.
condemn
Yeah.
myself for the action. Even if I do that because I'm pissed and all that shit. My values and my morals will still tell me, FJ, you fucked up and you need to pay for that. Either I go to jail or whatever it is, I got to pay for the damage, or I have to make up for it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what do you mean to condemn somebody then? If you're going to condemn this rioting, condemn the violence, what is condemning to you?
Well, I didn't even like the word condemn. Like, it's not like punish by death or I'm now have to do the limit. Well, like the action's been done, right? But in my perspective, the action gained nothing. So let's say you deface them. Let's be completely non-violent towards anyone. No one got hurt, but you deface a statue, right? You paint some past, white president. You damage it. You break it up, and you paint it black. I think whatever. I guess what I would say, dude, why did you do that? That's stupid. That doesn't do anything. You fucked up. And
Okay.
and if you don't punish by even paying for the damage or the restoration or something, then it's a what's the word? They just got away with it. And I am not for that. That's not, you need to punish wrongdoing. There has to be a lesson, not just a slap on the wrist for an action like that. People
What
shouldn't get
is the
away
goal of
with breaking
punishing?
the law. Because it's breaking the law. That's the lesson. Maybe not punishing, but what's punishing in your eyes? Like, even if I be like,
Punishing is
you
still
shouldn't have done that.
forcing your opinion on others, which is
What
exactly what they've done. So you're doing what they're doing, and you're condemning them for that, which is
Dude,
kind
it's
of
the law,
hypocritical.
though. They broke the law. It's not hypocritical if it's the law. If you're not
the
supposed
law
to
is only
deface,
supported by a group of people if they all agree to the law, and if they
Okay.
had no vote in the law, why should they follow that law?
oh really? Okay. So if it happened to them, if something of their possession or something that they've held, whatever, valuable, even if it meant nothing to the rest of the world, if it means nothing to anyone else, but to them it meant something, and then they destroyed it, what? So just because those people didn't agree, then what? Like, it's okay?
No, it's not okay.
It's the doing
mean,
unto
obviously,
others.
just
It's very simple with the
you.
do unto others what you have them do unto you. If you don't want that shit done to you, you shouldn't do it to other people. Like, why is it
Yeah, that's
breaking
true.
away
And
from that
it's
fundamental?
no, that is a fundamental. It's like the golden rule. Still believe that, but it's kind of hypocritical to do like force your opinion to others if you don't want their opinions
The
forced on you.
sorry, the more hypocritical thing is just because all these violence and hate crime against you has been happened to you your whole life, that you do it to other people. That is hypocritical.
Yeah, no, this is true. It's a cycle of hypocrisy, guys.
No, but like
Explain.
Ancient aliens.
Explain.
I just don't really get, I don't I'm having a hard time understanding why it's put into a category that I am or we are forcing our opinion onto others when I say those people who rioted and caused violence and harmed innocent people
Are
shouldn't be
wrong.
supported or are wrong. Yeah. Why
Yeah.
is that
Why
forcing an
can't I have
opinion?
morals?
Because to me, we agreed that the violence to those like earlier in this cast, we established the fact that doing it to individuals or hurting them is bad. So
Yeah.
if that's bad to you, if something is bad to you, why is it, why am I forcing that opinion onto other people when I say, hey, that shouldn't be supported, that needless violence or that's caused by these riots and violence, it shouldn't be supported. That is, I don't that's what I'm trying to like understand, because to me that's not forcing an opinion on other people. It's just me stating what I believe, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that.
Like I agree with this. Like you're allowed your opinions. You're allowed to not agree with something. You're allowed to not
Uh-huh.
agree with things. But the moment what I meant by force your opinions was like you call the cops on them. You know what I mean? It's like
I would.
Yeah, I would.
it's
Dude, if my
like
house is on fire, if my house is getting broken into, I would call the cops
Even
in
if it wasn't
no
my
second.
house.
okay.
Even if it wasn't my house.
Even yeah, exactly. But I'm just trying to like
So
relate.
if you we're focusing on the micro right here. What I'm trying to think of is like what I said earlier. It's a cycle of hypocrisy, people hurting people, and it will just go on for eternity if we keep doing that. But the root cause of it all is if we don't work together, we don't solve those root issues, we won't solve the cyclical hypocrisy, which is everybody hurting everybody.
Okay.
That's what me and Mike are saying. That's like
That
we
no,
want
no,
to.
that's
That
not
is
what Mike's
not what
saying.
Mike was saying
That
at
is not
all.
what Mike was saying at all.
What? No,
That is a
dude.
very external idea. You just not external,
Yeah.
but like
I,
what you just said there is true.
yeah,
There's complete validity to what you just said there.
I
That's not
agree.
what Mike was going at.
How do you know that's not what because that's not what you were saying, bro. What the
Do you know that's not what I'm saying? Hello.
Thank you, Tish.
because that's not what you said.
Nah,
Go read what you typed.
he's faking it too. Like
Okay.
he's lucky he's not in this conversation right now because he should be able. Okay, you can retype what you type because we're not scrolling up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too much to scroll, man.
Please write what you wrote. And
Okay,
I
let's.
remember what you said.
Is it
So
12:03? Is it 12:03? What am I reading?
1208.
Oh yeah, what time?
I should read it out loud too. It says, so the government screws you over your whole life, you riot because of it, and you blame yourself because the government screwed you over to push you to the point of rioting. Yes. No.
And
No,
that's why my response. That's my response after that, right? If that was the case, you can A, riot, B, believe that the government pushed you to riot and hurt other people, or
Yeah.
C, do something constructive for you to go and try and fix the root cause of the problem. Like you can work
See.
yourself into becoming a government official, which is definitely possible like in 20
very
whatever,
hard.
right?
Yeah.
Still very
It's
difficult.
hard, but it's
I will
hard, but it's
say,
not impossible like it was before,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, but
It's
they can
it's
still
that's
kick, they can assassinate you, they can kick you out. I get it.
I get that.
I get
I
it.
get that.
I get what
But
you're
that's
saying
not
though.
but that's not the point, right? The point is there's other options besides hurting innocent people.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's like
Yeah.
if you've tried many things, it's kind of like the Nelson Mandela thing, right? Like you tried peaceful protest for many years. You even had like the Black Panther movement. I don't know if you guys watched Black Messiah, but that was a really good movie. It was the one about the leader in the Chicago district of Black Panthers, and
Hmm.
it was a peaceful protest. People were coming together. They were working together to solve the issue. But then the FBI fucking goes in there, instigates a whole lot of shit, and breaks it from the inside. Like, you've tried peaceful protests. They like, how do you keep coming up with ideas? Like, if you're worn down for centuries,
So
like we haven't
Do you have an answer?
experienced that, so we can't say that.
of course. I that's for sure. But my point is, like, when you say it in put it in those that particular way, it's like you're trying to say they tried everything, so they had to resort to this chaos.
No, I'm not saying they tried everything. I'm saying they believe they've tried everything, and it's hard to keep coming up with new ideas.
Right. But
Okay. You use. Sorry. Go ahead, Diddy.
no, I'm just saying, like, if I understand that, they believe that they've tried everything, and I get that like point of view where people say, listen, like, they've been suppressed, however many decades, and this has been affecting their everyday livelihood for, the very long time, and they're very frustrated and they were angry, and that's what caused them to riot. I get that, but at the same time, that doesn't make it right. That's not like that's
True.
not a positive
well, no,
thing, right? It's not a
Yeah.
and,
we
not
agree.
only
It's
that,
like, are
not
you
only
trying to
that-
find an effective
not only-
method or a just method?
Yeah, not only that, if by you doing that and causing harm to other people, now you've created a whole new cycle of what you went through your entire life.
Yeah.
So to me, it just seems not constructive, and that's why I believe that shouldn't be supportive. And for someone to
I
read,
agree with the not supporting. Yeah.
yeah, but
Okay, the statement of I don't condone violence or rioting. We all agree with that. None of us condone violence or rioting.
Well,
Rioting.
my
Rioting.
mother example
no.
of the violence thing, but
Okay. So in this chat, we've agreed that we don't condone. Maybe Kyle might. Okay. Now Deji just got here. Deji, we are not.
Deji's
I mean,
muted.
if you'd like, yeah, he muted himself. If you'd like
Oh.
a summary of what we're talking about, I feel like you already know what we're talking about, but he can ask if he wants. But
Yeah.
okay, we all
Kyle,
agree.
it might be better for you to join the Discord than just mute. instead
No,
of
it's
watching.
just
Yeah,
because
man.
Mike said thank you, Deji, but
Oh, yeah,
I don't see what Deji typed. And
Yeah,
Kyle's
no, I
typing.
think
I think
Mike's
he
just
just
happy
joined
Deji
it. Mike
came.
just
Yeah.
thought that
Yeah.
Deji was gonna
Yeah.
take his side.
Oh, okay.
But
which is very well
little do
possible.
he's actually on my side. But anyway,
Very well possible.
Well, okay, yeah, because I think the only thing that I was trying to make clear on, like, for the hours that we were debating was it's not that we're trying to be insensitive to
It's
what
I don't
happened to
get
them.
that.
Not at all.
I don't.
I
yeah.
will never understand what they went
Day
through.
maybe. Day
Um,
maybe.
Like, I will never understand, what they've gone through and how hard it's been, and and I'm all for learning about and understanding more of the situation of what led them there. I have no issues
Yeah.
with that.
I also
It
want it
was-
fixed. Like I don't
yeah,
want it to
it
exist
was-
anymore.
I
Like
just have a stance on I don't believe that violence and hurting innocent people is an answer. Like,
true. Yes.
and I will take that further and say any defacing like random meaningless defacing of public and destructive of public or private property, I'll put that in there too. And that's not gonna, I'm not equating, like, let's say a controlled, I'm not gonna say bombing, but like if there's some calculated thing where they're trying to take
A violent
like-
protest.
yeah, like no, if you're against some tyrant leader, like, when people want independence from some crazy communist kind of tyrant leader like North Korea or something, or people want to get away from China and whatever, and they can't get away, so then they bind together and they overthrow the government, something like that. I mean, that's extreme, and that's almost you can put that aligned with this, but I wouldn't say it is. It's not equivalent to that. Like,
not,
rioting in the way
because-
what we saw as rioting last year was not anywhere close to that. It was random acts of violence towards public or private property, not even people, and people. That's what we saw last year. And it achieved nothing. Same with, let's say, even the controlled thing that you said, Nelson Mandela went to jail, and you said it achieved nothing? Like, he was in jail for a very long time, and finally he got out and then became the president or whatever. But whatever the achievement was, work after that. It wasn't the act itself, right?
I think, well, you can't isolate them, right? Like,
I guess.
everything influences everything else. But
Mm.
yeah, like I think we're, yeah, I'm kind of lost now where we're at.
What
with
are
this.
we?
Like,
What is the debate then?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
have
feel
no
Because Ren
clue.
seems to agree to what we're saying.
I think
Oh,
Ren
okay,
kind
so
of
what I'm saying-
agrees.
Okay,
on
okay,
violence
can I?
versus trying to understand the background of it. And that's what I meant. I feel those are two separate issues. and
So
we're
I think,
trying to argue against them, but I feel that we're separating them. Like, the
yeah.
stance of
So
no violence is good is we're trying to separate, like, the act of violence compared to the reason why they're acting out.
So I think where I'm coming from is you can't, if you condemn somebody, you continue the cycle of hypocrisy of people hurting people. And to really understand them would mean that continuing that cycle is just going to make things worse. It's, I think, where I stand, and I think, according to what Mike's typing, is we want to break the root cause to prevent the cycle in the first place. And it's usually the people with the power that need to do the changing. Like, apartheid wasn't fully Nelson Mandela's, like, it was his brainchild, but like, not his brainchild, like the thing he fought for, but it only got dismantled because he worked with the South African president at the time, who was a white man in power. And the
Okay.
same thing with Abraham Lincoln, right? Like, he worked with the people that were part of the, what do you call it, abolitionist movement, abolishing slavery. But like, you need those people to stop the cycle. Like, you can't, if you continue the cycle, what me and Mike are saying is, if you condemn somebody and put them to jail.
Don't group Mike with you.
Fine, that's fine. Okay.
Mike didn't say that at all today.
Okay, that's fair. And for what I'm saying then is that if you condemn somebody and send them to jail, you're only continuing the cycle that shouldn't even exist in the first place. And you can only stop that if you go to the root cause and solve it at the root cause before it spirals into this crazy thing.
Yeah, but see, I agree. You know, the root cause is the problem, and I understand the importance of addressing the root cause.
Real
But
quick, can you guys hear me?
hey,
Now we can.
how are you?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and
Okay.
clear.
I'll
alright.
tell you why,
Alright,
Mike.
go
I'll
ahead.
tell you why, Mike.
What
Go ahead.
was I
Dede.
saying? Right. So this is not. I'm not saying like the root, like the addressing the root cause is important. But at the same time, that's not to say we just let them free, or like because we understand, or we try to understand why they did that. We can't just let them be. That's
I
not
think
that's unacceptable. That's
okay. I think what we diverge then is how do we treat those people that are not supposed to be free, or like, how do you hold them accountable, right? Like, it's
For the
what I'm
destruction that
saying-
they did?
for the
what I'm
destruction is
what
jail.
I'm saying is that we stop the cycle of just hurting more people, and you actually try and reform the person and the root causes of that person to prevent them
No.
from doing it in the
Yeah,
future.
So that's
Okay, hold on,
why
hold on.
That, go ahead. Go
Ugh.
ahead. Go.
I'm tired of where this is going, because it has nothing to do. Now you're not looking at the action anymore. You're looking at what promoted the action, right? Let's solve the root. Yes,
That's a completely
obviously
different
it's
topic.
hold on.
Okay.
It's such an easy statement to say. Why are we focusing on punishing the people who did the rioting? We should fix it at the root. Very easy statement to say, right? But that's a whole different subject, and that's not the point. The point is, crime was committed.
Okay.
Even if you think
Yes.
it's like a non-stop thing of
We've agreed that there is crime committed. Yes. Yeah.
okay, well that's
We're
it.
on the same page with that.
That's
But
it
you
though.
can't.
That's
No, it's
it
not.
though. No.
It's a
Ren,
cycle.
stop.
No, no,
Hold
no,
on.
no, no. That's a
No,
different
no.
topic.
We never visited the part of this argument that meant
We're not
that the root
dismissing the
wasn't
why,
something
Mike.
that needed to be fixed. We are all for the root
Bro,
of the problem that needs to be fixed. The argument was simply judging the wrongdoing of rioting, judging like specifically that. And you're saying by us persecuting, or maybe if they go to jail for stealing, or if they go to jail for obstruction of justice, or maybe they go to jail for damaging public property, where all of that shit is actually defined in law already for everybody, not just them, not just for black people, not just for white people. Everybody is under the same fucking law. When they're breaking the law, they get punished for that shit. So that's what we're looking at. Understanding the why we get it,
Doesn't
man. Like
do anything.
we're not black. Deji, he is, but we don't understand the no, I'm just trying to say, like, you guys are trying to always say, what if you were in their shoes? You don't understand what they went through because you didn't have to go through it. You're right. We never deny any of that shit that we're not in the same boat, but we still have
you
right from
deny it.
wrong. No, but Mike is. Mike's.
No,
That's why
he's-
when you
he's
kept
been
saying you and
asking
Mike,
questions.
he just asks a bunch of questions, and then in the end, he's gonna say, "I'm neutral."
well, even neutral is a stance though, because that's
No,
not.
that's
and
fine.
I don't even.
That's
I don't
fine.
even like condemning. Like, it's not condemning. I don't even think like you should die for what you did. Like, condemn to death. Like, that's what I would associate the word condemn with. But no, if you did something wrong, you should pay the consequences of what that wrongdoing brings you, and that's it. It was simply just within that realm.
That's
we're
why
not
I was
saying
getting
there is
so
an underlying.
frustrated.
Yeah, I was getting pissed off too, man. Like,
Because
it's so
listen,
stupid.
that's why the discussion itself was such a simple thing, and all of these other factors that belong in different discussion as a whole started coming into as a factor to the one that was at hand. And that's why I was like going back and forth. I'm like, okay, like I get it. I get that it's important to address the root cause, and we're not saying that we disagree with the the importance of trying to come up with ways to fix the root cause. That's a separate topic. It's related, but it's not
related,
what
yeah.
we were talking about, right? What we were talking about was I was just getting tilted because of the fact that I found out that I know somebody who was supportive of that kind of violence, and that's why I was getting upset. I mean, yeah, you can twist the words around and say, well, supportive and not against doesn't really mean the same. All that bullshit, it's fine, but to me, for
Yeah,
you to say
when you say
it's
something
not
like
dismissive,
I wouldn't
it's
hold on. When you say something like
man.
I wouldn't do it myself, but I get why they're doing it.
yeah, that's
Like
stupid.
that's a cop out to like what you're actually saying. Like, I wouldn't do it myself, but I get why they're doing it.
But Day, you're the one twisting the words. I've read the screen. Okay, how am I twisting the words? Tell me. Please tell me. I'm
screenshots.
all ears.
This is why, like, I
This
feel
is
like we're
this is
going in
like
so many
it's
circles.
such a big like I don't understand what.
What's
for a
Mike
guy-
arguing at this
No,
point?
listen,
What's
Mike,
he
for a
arguing
guy-
at this
For
point?
a guy who has a neutral stance, you sure have a lot of questions, bro.
Like, why do you
either
what do you
take a
still
stance
what do you still
or
refute?
don't.
I don't get it.
What I think what we're trying to understand is we believe violence is bad. We need to fix the root cause. We're all agreeing on that. But it's what we do next. What we do as a society next is what we're trying to figure out. Where
Okay,
we
but
seem to diverge.
That's two separate things,
That's
though.
two different
Mike
topics.
Mike never did that.
Mike
the whole
never said
first
that.
3 hours of this conversation.
Mike just thinks
Didn't touch that at all.
because the person said, just because the person said never said, oh, it's justified. So therefore they never said that it was justified. And to me, that's such a like.
No.
It's fluff.
Mike,
It's fluff.
say
it's
okay.
fluff.
Mike wrote, but Day you're okay. No,
That's
Mike
fluff.
wrote because Day says Neela says it. Oh, my bad. Justified to do the riots, but nowhere in the screenshot she says that. it wasn't even about justification. Like the statement was made that wouldn't do it myself, but I get why they're doing it, and then further back up by saying they're angry and like they've been pushed to this, they have no choice. All of those come from the same sentiment. Doesn't have to say justification with the word justification. It's not necessary. But when you start bringing up they have no choice, that they were pushed to this point where they couldn't do anything else, but that they've resorted to this because of the pain. All of this is the same sentiment. You don't have to say the word justification, but you're justifying it. You are literally in the means of justifying it when you're saying things like that.
Yes, you are. I don't understand why that is so hard to comprehend.
Nah. See, that's where you're putting words in her mouth.
This is okay.
Dude,
listen,
what else is that? What else is that besides justifying action?
So if
what
someone
is that?
says, Mike, if someone tells you, frig, I can't even think of a good one. But like, if someone says, "Oh,
Can't be analogous, yeah.
I'm not against, I don't know, gay and lesbian people." What is your translation of that? When someone says, "I'm not against gay and lesbian people,"
Doesn't mean that they're for it.
Nah.
It could also mean that they just don't care.
I don't know about analogous to this, but let's look at it.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost in this.
Let's look at let's look at this.
I'm just trying to come up with a different example.
attempted.
Yeah.
Let's just look at Mike's attempt. Mike said, "What happened? What caused World War II?" That was his attempt, and then he backed off when he realized it's a bad example. But he made an attempt. That very attempt to question what happened with World War II, I think, I'm going to guess here, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he made an attempt to relate, oppression, like, not even oppression, sorry. Didn't you say, like, because it was a depression too? Like, economically, it was like, it was pushed to the point where people didn't have a choice, and they started World War II, something like that. He was attempting.
It was multiple things.
Okay, Mike, you should speak for yourself then, man, because it's annoying. Yeah. Like, you're just typing things and pasting stuff. Say something then. Say something.
I was just trying to say.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. No. Sorry, let me finish before. Okay, last thing. I'm sorry. Just last thing. He attempted to do something. Let's not even use the example, but he tried to justify rioting with an example. If you don't want to use the word justify, what were you trying to do there? What were you trying to do by bringing up World War II or any other subject that you could have brought up an example? What were you trying to do in the sake of rioting at that point? What were you trying to do?
Yeah, but
I understand why they did it. I understand why they did it. It's still wrong. I can say that. I understand why they did it. They're pissed.
I never said I don't understand why they.
Yeah, man, I get it. We've said that many times today. We get it. We totally understand
why. The whole conversation was the act of violence is wrong. Doesn't mean that I don't care about what happened to them in the past
or why they did it.
All the things that has happened. Of course, I think all those things that happened to them are so wrong. Like, I hear about things, you read about them. It's friggin' terrible. But the stance of violence, in my opinion, against innocent people is wrong. That was the only point that we were trying to say. So, because I think when you were typing, Mike, when you were saying that, if I said, I feel that violence against innocents is wrong, regardless of what happened in the past, it felt like you were saying that I didn't care about the movement of what they were trying to make other people aware about. So that's why I felt a little bit offended, because I'm not trying to dismiss and hate or not agreeing with their cause and the reasons and what happened to them. I read about them and like I learn about them, and I'm trying to learn more about any type of injustice. It doesn't mean that I condone any type of injustice. It's just when you say that, like, because we're not understanding the why, that was not the issue. The issue was I still just feel that violence is wrong regardless of the why. So I was just trying to make that clear. So yeah.
Again,
That was my
as
point.
I said, it's not that I don't I don't care about the why, not so much that even if I were to understand the why, doesn't mean it's justified, then doesn't mean it's right, and it should not be supported. That is the entire point. That is, there's no less, no more. That's it.
Okay, let's read what Mike just wrote, because
Yes,
let's
but the
let's
original.
let's just address this thing, because if that's what he understood, let's address it right there. Yes, but the original argument involved you saying they justified what they did to Riot, and that is wrong. I don't know what you said earlier now. If you use the word justified,
Yes, but the
many-
original argument involved.
Yeah, my argument was violence is wrong for whatever reason. They can't justify
It is
violence to
justified.
make it okay.
it cannot be justified.
It can't
yeah,
be
it-
justified to make violence okay.
Yes,
Not that
yes,
they're
but
not
no, but my
justified
no,
for
but
feeling
but-
how they feel. It's I don't feel that the violence makes
But-
justification
Mike-
makes violence okay.
But
That
Mike's
was the
saying,
punishment.
but Mike's saying they literally did not say justified, and that's the point that he's trying to make. Is that I'm twisting their words because I'm saying they support and justify the whatever. But
I want to read out what he wrote here. Is that
what the
cool?
hell? Yeah, go.
Okay.
Don't
The statement
say they
was
said.
yeah, the statement was I'm not against them burning. So Mike says, so if it's about justification, Day can get the win there. But there was a misunderstanding of what they were trying to say. So I do agree they had no other choice. Mike understands that they had no other choice. Let's just look at that statement. I disagree. Anyone want to make
You agree with them. You agree with them saying they had no other choice. I disagree 100% on that.
Okay.
They had
At least it's definitive. Like we're going statement by statement.
Yeah.
Mike agrees there. I don't. I disagree that they didn't have another choice.
I
And
disagree.
it's
How
not
is-
justified, but I get why. Irrelevant. What are you saying? It's not oh my god. What you're saying is it's not justified. And based on the other things you said, everyone who rioted are idiots and are stupid and wrong for everything they did. But if we were to agree they had no choice, how can you blame them?
Well,
Well,
first of all,
we don't agree. We don't agree
First
that they
of
don't
all-
have a choice. Yeah.
First of all, I don't agree that they had no choice. And second of all, you're saying based on other things you said, everyone who rioted and are idiots and stupid and wrong for everything they did. Incorrect. I am saying the ones that cause harm to the innocent people. I don't care if you riot on your own outside in the forest or whatever shit. Like, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to
My
call them all
point-
idiots.
My point is, if you cause harm to other
innocents.
people, to innocent people that did nothing to you, based on your emotions, your whatever the reason is.
Nah, man, my
doesn't
stance
matter.
is even if
if
you
you
loot
cause them-
target and you don't hurt anybody, you're still an idiot. If you
Yeah, but
deface a
that's-
statue and you're not hurting anybody, you're still an idiot. Like
I agree- I
that's
agree.
my stance, right?
I agree, but the point I'm trying to make across again is if you cause harm to the innocent people, regardless of the why, you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
an idiot. And for
Okay.
you to just wrap everything around and say everybody who rioted are stupid, no, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I said at all.
But that's what I'm saying right now.
That's what you're saying, yes. But
That's what I'm saying right now, definitively.
The
Yeah.
duration of our long discussion here is that is you misunderstood what I said. I never said that riots period are stupid. I
But
said
they are though.
the ones that listen, I'm trying to make a point here. Like I'm trying to say my stance from the get-go, again, this is like the 20th time I'm saying this. If you protest and riot because of what you believe, that's fine. But if that starts hurting innocent people for no reason that have nothing to do with you, that's wrong.
Hey
That's
guys,
not the right way.
how do
And
I
you
show
should be in jail for that because you've
how do I
hurt
show
people.
Deji this chat? He doesn't see this chat, he said.
Of course it's wrong. Then we agree. There's nothing else to discuss because you agree with what I say.
How do I add him?
That was our stance. That's what we were trying to make a point of.
Like
was
I never
violence
like
against innocence.
Just like Ren said, we agree 1 and 2.
What was 1 and 2?
We disagree on
This
who
one is
to condemn.
historical.
Oh,
Historical
we
issues. 2
disagree
is
on
violence
who
is bad.
Right. We disagree on who to condemn. Your focus is on the rioters. Yes, because they're the one that caused
Caused
the
harm to
harm to
innocent
the
people.
innocent.
That was
That is
my
my
statement,
point.
and that's
Your
when
focus. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Freaking
On the
listen,
system? You want to
listen.
condemn the
That's what I mean.
system
That
for
is-
the action?
We were talking about 2 separate
This
issues.
guy.
Bro,
That
this
was
is the
the
first
first
time
thing
this
I
is the first
wrote.
time you even used the word system in the whole day, dude. That's the first time.
But
Your
that
focus
was
was on the
first thing I
system.
wrote because I remember seeing these messages. I got off work, I read a bunch of them, and I'm like, "Look, guys, you guys are talking about 2 different things, and you're arguing about 2 different things. This is what they say. This is what Mike's talking about. That's the summary." But then you kept going.
Yeah, so you can ask why, but it doesn't make sense, dude. Like,
There's nothing wrong with asking why, but the fact that it felt like you were trying to argue with us that our stance was incorrect because we're not focusing on the why. But that wasn't the argument at all. It was the disagreement on
Freaking get ahead.
violence shouldn't
It is
be
the argument.
justified
This
for
is
any
not it. That is not the argument.
nah, yeah,
Why are
it's you know what? Hold on. I think, guys, it's just fair to say,
Oh my
Mike,
god, man.
I think even if I'm gonna put words in your
listen.
mouth, Mike, but it feels to me that you think that the riots were justified. And
The
if you
riots
feel
are
that way,
not
man,
just-
but if
No,
that's what
no,
Mike
it-
feels, if
okay.
that's what Mike feels, that's what Mike feels.
Maybe Ren can
it-
speak for Mike.
I don't know. Is
Okay,
that
but hold
wrong?
on, 'cause I think
I
this is-
don't think that's what
there's
he's
2
coming at, but
there's 2 statements here that are very different, okay? And it's hard because you're using riots and justification in 2 separate things. It's either any reason can justify violence, or their
Nothing.
violence or their riots were justified. Those are 2 separate
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Those are
Yes.
2 separate
Very
issues.
good.
Thank
Nicely
you.
put.
But-
Nicely put.
Wait, say that one more
that's
time.
something
One more
that
time.
Sorry,
Nicely put.
say again.
Can you say it one more time? Just like
Okay.
sum
Say
it
it
up.
again.
So,
We draw it out, actually.
okay.
Type
Need
it.
some
Type
help.
it. Type it in the chat while you say it.
Using justification and violence, just those 2 or
Riots,
and riots. So
Riots.
it's,
Yeah.
our stance was violence. Justification for there's no justification for violence and riots. Right? The
Okay.
act of harming innocent people, there shouldn't be a justified reason where that's okay. Compared to the reason they rioted and caused violence to potential innocent people was justified.
Oh shit,
know what I
this is
mean? Like-
confusing. I need you to draw this out.
I'm
dude.
typing it out. I'm typing it out.
This is yeah.
I'm
This
okay.
is
So these
Okay,
statements
here.
are
Analogies.
mutually
Speak to me
exclusive.
in
Are they? Would
analogies.
you say? Would you say?
Analogy.
Hold
I got
on.
one.
Hold
I got a
on.
good one.
Hold on. Would you say they're mutually exclusive?
That one I don't know. I can't delve that deeply into it.
Okay.
But
well, this is what I
Oh,
think
love
he
a
just.
Venn diagram would be amazing.
This is
Here-
what he
here's-
just wrote.
here's
I
Here's
think
the
they're
analogy
exclusive.
that I think about is you hear a case about one guy who murders, a bunch of people in some shooting. There's a shooting,
Hmm.
kills some people. That act, I think we can all agree, is wrong. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first statement is there's no reason of whatever his background history was that the act of him shooting and killing people is okay.
Mhm.
Right? So that's statement 1. Statement 2 is you hear the backstory and it turns out that there was someone in that crowd who murdered his whole family.
Yep.
So then he went out and tried to kill that one person, and in that act hurt other innocent people.
Mhm.
So that statement 2 is the justification of because his family was murdered and he was getting back at somebody else, his act is okay now. That is statement 2, and that's something that we're arguing with two separate things. It's
Oh, wait, are we
can't
focusing on statement
justify-
1 or statement 2?
You know what I mean?
The
Like, you can't
the
justify
point is
reasons
statement 1
why
and statement 2 are
that
different.
was our stance. And then the second stance, it doesn't mean that we're not empathetic of what happened to him or trying to understand his background story. Regardless of his background story, we still feel that the act of what he did is wrong.
Yeah. So Day, me, and Dan, our focus was statement 1. Mike and you, your focus was statement 2. But we weren't necessarily against each other, necessarily.
You're telling me I wasted.
Well, we knew that. We kind of knew it. We kind of knew that.
I mean, I gave
this was
that
a good
very
popcorn.
example. I gave that very example in the chat too. Like, if there was someone on the rooftop that shot 50 random people with an assault rifle, is your first reaction going to be, holy shit, put that guy,
What was his
find
reason?
like, is your first reaction going to be find that guy and put him in jail because he should be in jail for killing however many people, or is your first reaction going to be, oh, I wonder what caused him to kill 50 people at a random? If your first reaction is the latter, something's
the
wrong with you.
statement.
Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. That's all I gotta say.
So my reaction is neither of those two,
Theories on like
because
the
I don't
backstories
play
of
by your
mass
game, Day.
murderers and serial killers. I
Whoa.
have no problem watching those and trying to understand why they did what they did, but it doesn't mean that I still agree with the action that they took. So the whole
Yes.
argument that we were saying was statement 1, the action that they took, I don't agree with. I don't, I don't feel that that was a right thing to do.
Yes.
Doesn't
Yeah, man,
mean
I
that
don't think-
don't care about learning and understanding the history. It just that statement 1, I feel that any reason doesn't make violence and riots against innocents where they can be harmed, doesn't make that okay. That was my stance.
And
Yeah.
and I think it's getting easier when you say something like a guy shoots somebody in cold blood, but that's like innocence or whatever. Rioting seems a little no targets involved, but people get hurt or things get messed up and destroyed. Like now it almost feels like we're trying to draw a definitive line of when it can and can't be crossed, which I don't think is what we're trying to do either. It's not about the gravity of the crime, that when can we forgive it and when can't we. It's like, if we've already defined that the action was wrong, it's going to be wrong regardless of the reason. And like, and even that guy, let's say, bring it even simpler. Let's take away death. Let's take away hurting people, but like just stealing, like, people stealing from Target, or if you want a noble cause, Robin Hood stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, right? But we all believe stealing's wrong. And we still know that Robin Hood had very much justification to steal from the rich and give to the poor, but we still believe stealing is wrong. Was there a better method? Yeah, I guess overthrow the rich or overthrow the sheriff of Nottingham and get a better, make Robin Hood sheriff, something like that. But like, that's a better method. It's probably going to be more effective rather than it being a cyclical thing of people getting oppressed and then stealing, and then people getting oppressed and then stealing. Anyway, that's me trying to equate that, because there is no gravity. Once you know the action is wrong, it's wrong. Like,
so the whole conversation, there was no acknowledgement or confirmation of
Mike.
acknowledgement of what pushed these people to do what they did. Was there? Maybe I had selective reading. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
No, he was
The
just
whole-
trying to say that we weren't acknowledging
Like
what
fully
happened,
acknowledging
what led them
historical
to that point.
thing.
But
I never said that.
we probably
No, but
did.
I
What
did.
the fuck?
What we were trying to say is it's two separate issues.
When did I ever say I don't acknowledge what happened? What the? And
It's
listen,
well,
I
okay,
still
no.
was- Okay,
It is
yeah.
true, because Data, you said regardless. When you say regardless of the reason, That's
regardless
when
of the
you
reason
say
in this
yeah.
case.
I know, I get it. But that's what I think he means.
Okay.
Like you didn't,
I
you don't
think-
when you don't when it's regardless, you are not acknowledging something. So when you say regardless, you're not acknowledging
okay,
something.
then let me correct myself. I
Well, you're right
acknowledge
yourself.
what happened in the past and why it happened. Okay? That's off the table now. I acknowledge. Okay?
You know why last year's riots happened?
I
Yeah?
acknowledge and I
Okay.
understand why those riots happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am completely against still
Riot.
to those who believe that that was justified, or that had a
Oh.
purpose or whatever.
I feel
Even
like
more direct.
justified is not a good word.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's not a good word, but like you
Yeah.
get my point.
Like you
Like,
can understand, yes, why
Yeah.
they did those things.
yeah,
And I think, yeah, we're on the
and for
same page
you,
with that.
I understand you were trying to defend your friend, but I
That
mean
seems weird. That seems like a weird reason to go through
the
that.
last thing you should be doing to waste somebody's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I don't agree
don't
with
do
It
that.
was a
that.
choice to spend these 3 hours debating, guys.
Yeah.
But I
So
agreed with her.
defend what you believe in, but don't defend someone.
So-
Like defend what you believe in. Like take stance in what you
So when you say,
stand.
see, even that point right there, when you say you agree with them, like I like that to me, translation is you agree that you're not against the burning,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's like what the fuck? No,
No,
It
that's where
depends,
he
like,
is
do
though,
you
man.
know
That's
what the friend was saying about the burning, though?
no, but
Do
that's
you
where he is.
understand them clearly?
He's clearly taking the role that stance, and we disagree for sure.
yeah,
Yeah. So
like,
what?
How can
Yeah,
you-
Mike. Okay, Ren, go further with that. He just said, Ren, thank you. So go further with that, Ren. So
Like,
understanding.
what if the friend meant something other than what it seems to be you're construing about the burning? Like, what if the burning was in the same sense as what I was talking about of a historical, like what happened in South Africa? What if that was what they meant by that, rather than
You mean
just rioting?
You mean
right?
You mean-
figurative? Figurative
Sorry?
burning?
you mean
Like figuratively?
I meant the violent protesting of bombing civil institutions. Maybe
Right,
that's
but
what
Okay,
they
well,
meant.
what
no,
about
listen, but the
what
fact-
about the burning of a specific mall?
Maybe
the
if it-
symbolism I get, because you're targeting a specific government institution and all that. This was completely different than that. This was just random people burning things on fire and going into Target. What symbolism does Target have?
Well,
you just-
consumerism and capitalism.
there's a
but
lot.
okay, go on.
Okay, yeah. But I
Okay,
still
well,
I still
how
disagree with
about
that.
this? What
It's
about-
I
Target.
still disagree with that too.
Okay,
No, but-
what about the
I know, you
walk
must be
on Capitol
zealous
Hill
at least.
when you know all
Walmart.
those protesters and rioters went into Capitol Hill, broke in, caused all this violence,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like, is that okay?
No, but I'm saying you still have to break the cycle.
But
I
that's what
no, but that's
that
I
act
agree.
of them
But that
doing
the
that,
act,
I don't
yes.
think it's okay, regardless of the reason of why they did that.
But
now-
it can't be regardless because they're hand in hand.
Okay.
One causes
alright,
the
guys,
other, and it's a
guys,
cyclical
guys.
loop.
I- Going
I
into
apologize.
Capitol Hill and causing violence and potentially harming the people that were in that building, is the act of them doing that okay?
I think we've agreed that violence is bad.
Listen. I apologize for using the word regardless, because maybe that word just triggered my maybe that twisted my point. The point that I was
Yeah.
trying to make
I think
again,
so.
because somebody likes to take everything literally and wants everything spelled out for them literally. When I said regardless of anything, I was actually trying to
Damn,
say,
son.
yes, I was actually trying to say that it doesn't matter what, like even if we understand the why, that doesn't make it correct.
Yeah, and I
The-
think
the-
we agreed that though. I think
no,
it's
you
just hard
agreed to that. Mike is still spitting whatever okay.
I don't know what Mike's doing right now.
I can't tell if he's
Uh.
just instigating and trolling for fun, or if he actually genuinely believes that we are in a disagreement.
Yeah.
I think there's
'Cause I
just
swear
you
to
guys
God,
need
if
to
it's-
like mind meld and hash this out. Like do a bit of drugs together. Have some LSD.
1 and 2 we agree on. 2 is what you're talking about. I remember the 3 statements, right?
3 is the whole condemning thing.
I don't
that
remember
one,
your statements.
My only stance was
I don't like.
if there's violence and it can potentially hurt innocent people, I don't agree with that. I think it's 100% wrong, and there isn't a background reason that'll justify that action.
So
That
so
was
so
my-
number 3 with
those
the
are my
condemn,
issues.
right? Like the
Yeah.
whole, who are we to condemn and we shouldn't condemn because that'll continue the cycle of hatred. I understand that point, but my counter argument to that is if it happened to you directly in your life, what is your reaction?
You neutralize, not antagonize. You neutralize, and then you amend the root cause. It's the whole thing why people are advocating for de-escalating rather than having police show up at a place. That's the same point there. That's what that is. That's that's another option rather than just condemning somebody.
Okay, but I think that was the thing. I felt that in that conversation, we were just trying to make a stance on point number 2 that it's wrong.
Well, we're thinking about number 3.
I didn't really throw in anything in terms of the condemnation or anything, but I mean, I still think it's wrong. What should the after effects happen? I don't know, but doesn't mean that I feel that the action of violence is correct.
Yeah, I think like we're on the same page with that. It was what comes after.
I have an example. Food for thought later. Oh, well, I'm still gonna read it. Student is raised by abusive alcoholic in a broken home and gets beaten all his young life. He's 18 now. He beats his girl unconscious. Was what he did bad? Yes. How should he be punished? Jail for how long? Does this help society, the victim, the perp? What can be done so this doesn't happen again? And what actually happened in this case today? The first statement is very simple, and you can see how the other questions really add some juice to the conversation. Okay.
Yeah. So we're like, me and Mike are focusing, at least what I understand from what Mike's saying, and what I understand for myself is we're focusing not on that first statement, but all those other questions.
Who you guys are? You guys are focusing on that.
Yeah, and
which we're not even talking about.
So that's not what we're talking about.
What we
So
were just
therefore,
trying to prove statement number 1 felt like you saying, or I guess the rebuttal was, you guys don't care about anybody else in their backstory.
Yeah, like we
no,
refuse
that's
to
not
take
it
part
at
in that
all.
conversation.
I
No.
just have a state or a stance on statement 1 doesn't mean I don't care about all those other questions. They are wonderful questions and a great thing to talk about, but it just felt that you were dismissing my stance and saying that I'm,
Yeah, like we're insensitive. Like we don't care.
Well, then that is our wrong. Well, that's my wrong. I can't speak for Mike. That's my wrong then. Like I'm not saying that your opinions are wrong. I'm saying that I don't feel it justified to condemn. I think that's where I jumped in. That's where I felt triggered, I guess. So that's what I was fighting for. I don't know how
I don't remember how the word condemn got introduced, to be honest. I thought it was just about right and wrong and shouldn't do it. But then condemn came in and it was like, okay, yeah, I guess. But even
I wasn't there for the condemning part, so
no, the whole word condemn stemmed because I said those who rioted and caused innocent people harm should be punished. That's how it started.
And also the people who created systemic racism should be punished, but they're dead. So the people running them now are still, they should still be condemned too. Like they need to be kicked out of office and they need to be corrected in whatever way we can figure out.
We have to find an alternative solution.
So I agree. And just to make sure this gets out there, I didn't put words into anybody's mouth. I read them exactly how they portrayed it, and that's why this argument started. If you believe otherwise, then I don't know. You're reading a different screenshot than I have. But okay.
I mean, that's the human condition, right? Like we can't really fully say what we mean, and we can't really fully understand what somebody else means, right? So we try with our words.
The part that that was so hard for me to understand was how can someone that says they're not against something, but also not be supportive of that same thing?
Yeah.
Well,
it
yeah,
doesn't
when you started to say I wouldn't do it myself, I don't condone the behavior, but I get why they did it.
Yeah.
Okay, but
What is that?
should they have? Well, can I just
Maybe
ask?
they could have
should
elaborated.
should they have done it or not? Should they have done it or they shouldn't have done it? Where's your stance on that? They shouldn't have or they should?
What do you like? You're asking if the other person should have done the acts, the
I'm
rioting?
asking Ren and Mike specifically, should the riots have happened?
No.
Okay,
I think
Mike,
there is a better way, but it's what they believe was the only choice
should
they had.
should the riots have happened? I'm asking Mike now.
Well, while he's typing, I'm pretty sure that was just the stance. It was just the fact that it doesn't mean that we don't show empathy to the situation of what led them there.
Yeah.
It's just the blanket statement of, I still think what they did is wrong, not why they did. Doesn't mean I don't want to empathize with them, but saying, I get why they did, I wouldn't do it. That's just showing empathy to their situation,
Okay, we're
and
cool.
that's it.
We're cool. Mike said no, the riots shouldn't have happened. I think we're cool now.
Thank you.
And on that note,
Love you guys.
that's not a win, dude.
Oh
'Cause
my
if
god.
oh my god, if you're gonna use that,
like-
here, let's open it again, Mike.
Mike,
because
just stop, bro. Just
if-
stop.
Yeah,
If you-
just
Nah,
stop, Mike.
He said it. I'm gonna entertain him.
Oh, God.
That's not a win for
I'm
me.
out of here.
I would have been more of a win if you said no. I just wanted a definitive side. Like, you needed to have a side, man. Like, staying on the fence and being neutral isn't a side. Like, that's not a win.
it's a side, but it's like it's not a.
It's a
doesn't
side
help
that's
or-
irrelevant. That's what it is.
Well,
I don't know. Sometimes
but
it's relevant.
I think if you're neutral on something, you wouldn't fight for the other side. Like, I don't. He was fighting for the
Other side.
yeah.
Mm.
Like, that person we were using as an example clearly had a side. Like, and that's what the arguments were coming from. And like, yeah. What else can I do, guys? What else can I do?
Yeah, we should use aliases.
Oh, Mike, if you're even
Bro.
thinking that I don't like that either, man. Like, that I don't understand. Like, if you only knew how much research I did or how many people I spoke to on both sides and how much time I've spent watching debates and like interviews on opposite sides. So, like, you were presuming because I made a statement today that I need to understand. But it doesn't change the behavior and what my evaluation of that behavior is. I am for it. I am pro BLM. Like, I am pro. I am a proponent and I'm supporter. So I don't get it. Why wouldn't I understand if I'm pro? Yes, you are.
Mike, being combative.
I think he's being.
I think
he's
it's like
trolling.
it's hard to like.
Why?
I think because the word condemn is thrown around, it's kind of like
I didn't like it
you're
either.
just perpetuating the cycle, right? And it just doesn't feel right. And I think that's probably. Oh, I know that's what triggered me, but I think when you condemn or do something.
Well, we
negative
even got
back to
into
somebody
the
else.
specific of like what should happen to them. What should we do?
Yeah,
And I was like,
I think that's important
well,
though. That's like.
I guess what the law wrote to do. Right?
But the
I don't
law
know.
is written by people, and the people
Yeah.
that wrote the laws were biased,
So you
and
think
they need to be.
So you think
always
that law was
revised.
only specific to the white versus black? You don't think that law happens in other countries where that doesn't even exist? A fully Asian country would not have been
There's always
supportive.
discrimination, though. There's always discrimination, even if it's in the law. The laws are observed differently for different people, so you can't You can't just rely
Okay,
on the law.
no, you can't make
is
a blanket statement like that though, because this is specifically rioting and destructive of property. Like, what, at what, in where, what country or any kind of non-biased, perfect utopia is that specific destructive of property going to be not against the law?
Did anyone Google what happened to the people
Riots?
that broke into the Capitol building?
Nothing happened
Anyone?
to them.
Did anyone Google that?
A lot of them weren't
Don't
sought
think
out.
so.
Like, a lot of them just got away with it,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which is
Interesting.
wrong. That's fucked up, man. I will
But
still
see,
say the
that's-
same thing. All those people need to be arrested. All those people need to be persecuted, and at
But
the
this is
full
the
length of the law.
same thing of like, why believe in a law that doesn't
Work.
treat people equally? You know, like, yeah, if it doesn't work, then
But dude,
why does
but
one
dude,
side? Why do we have to be the good people and follow the law if the other side doesn't follow the law?
yeah,
You know?
but I'm having the same stance where both sides, the people who marched Capitol and the people who rioted for BLM, they should both be punished equally. Why is that? Why is that biased? If
Yeah,
both of them,
that was the stance of statement one. Is I believe both of those actions are wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't want to understand why both subsets of people did what they did, and it doesn't mean I don't. It doesn't mean I don't want to see the issue of the system of how it's going to be dealt with and how they were dealt with differently. It's just the stance of I believe that what they both did was wrong. That was
Yeah.
the only stance.
I think we agreed on that
And,
though.
and because the question came up, I did a quick search. More than 535 arrested so far in the Capitol riot case, while more than 300 suspects remain unidentified. So 500 plus arrests.
Are they still in jail?
I don't know. That's just what's written here.
rioters too,
Hmm.
man. Like, innocent people got arrested too when they didn't do anything. They're just bystanders, so that sucks too.
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
It's hard
Yeah.
to.
I hate the
it's
fact that
hard
we
for
relied
me
on
to-
this chat today so much.
I
That's not the
can't see
point.
this chat. Oh, I see. True.
Should have been in YouTube or something, maybe. But Twitch, maybe we could do next week or something. Anyway, that was riveting. Thanks, guys. I think we can send off. Yeah. What do you
Wait.
think? Yeah,
We have to tie it back to the original. If people have a choice.
So the control. The control.
So the tieback is
In summary,
You can
just watch the first 20 minutes of this
what you
class.
wanna do.
No, I mean it's like, okay, what? Yeah, people have control over their lives. I guess that was the original premise.
Yes. If you
I think
believe
it's
it,
yeah,
then you
it's
can achieve it.
it's meant the statement was meant to be positive reinforcement for those it resonates with. If it doesn't resonate with you, you're not supposed to take it as an offense or a slap in the face. It's just not meant for you, and you can go about your way.
Yeah,
Without it.
or you could leave or unfollow the person.
Yes.
Yeah, you could do that too, but I
Yeah.
think it's probably even better to keep following, learn from the different perspectives, and perhaps it could be late down the road. Let's say you're empowered and you go back to that and it means something to you then. It's even
And I
better.
just
I think that's difficult though. Like if you continue to surround yourself with a negative opinion, like you're just going to be in a negative atmosphere the whole time. You know, like I think it's better to
Dan
go
said-
away first and then come back. Like,
But then Dan did say there were plenty of other examples on there that didn't have that same tone at all. So
true.
there's still a positivity to gain from the account, even if that post didn't resonate.
Ooh,
Right,
like
like-
this one. Be kind. Everyone is still healing from things they don't speak about.
I feel like that's been like reposted so many times, man.
That's the first time I heard it.
But I mean, but that's the thing. Like, if it's not necessarily a negative account, it's
Yeah,
just
Maybe that was the first account and everyone
one
copied that.
or that post is a controversial one. I'm sure there are other ones that are on there, but there are also other ones that are,
Yeah.
uplifting and yeah.
True.
Is that a
I
cool
think
tieback?
it's No, it didn't really tie back, but whatever.
Well,
Also, I
Yeah.
just wanted to add, if you're gonna unfollow people, just unfollow them. Don't put it out there. Hey, I'm gonna
don't comment
unfollow
and
you."
then unfollow.
Such a shitty thing to do. Like that just shows your character, you know. Like if you're gonna unfollow
That's-
someone, just unfollow. Why are you gonna
That's a good
announce it to the
point.
world?
That is
Yeah.
a good point. I agree with that. Yeah.
So you're approving of ghosting is what does that mean? That's what that means.
That's not
That is
that's not
not
ghosting.
what the fuck.
That's not ghosting at all. Oh man.
They're gonna look back and be like,
Instigation
"I
in this
can't
chat.
believe that one person unfollowed out of nowhere. Where'd they go?"
They used to be so vocal in all my posts and commenting every day. They're gone.
I just wanted to add.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah, it
for
is
those
obviously.
and Dan, please thank Michaela for listening and trying to keep up watching. That's really nice. Thank you for being here. I think the systemic racism part, which led to that huge tangent today.
Yeah, this is crazy. I came in and 5 Asians were talking about black people. I was like, what is this? I was like, where am I?
That's so good.
It'll be in the description if you want to see what we were referring to, but that ties more along the lines of the wealth part, I'm thinking. You know.
What?
You know, your wealth
The
is
wealth
your wealth is what was the post? What was like the blame thing?
Weight, wealth, and
Mood.
Yeah, your wealth is a reflection of your daily habits. Yes, even if you take into account systemic racism or whatever like that, that limits your full potential of what you should be able to in the full equality world ideal, you know, like it's still supposed to be taken in the micro. It's within we're only the statements made for you to focus on what's within your grasp, the changes that you do have control over.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that there are many people out there who have to suffer these, you know, limitations and restrictions because of certain things that marginalize them, be it race.
Yeah.
But the
I think
statement is
that
not
there's-
meant to disregard that. It's like the statement was still meant to address what's within your actual realm and control.
Yeah. I think it's just difficult, right? Like sometimes you don't have a forum to talk about these things. Like what small things can I do, right? You just get these posts shown at you and you're like, oh, I don't believe in this or I believe in this. Whereas like I think it's more valuable like to have a forum to talk about these things or like have these discussions.
With that being said, if I ever post something that you want to discuss, I'd be more than happy to discuss with anybody of what I post. I love these conversations.
Can you draw them out though, please?
Venn diagrams
Really
each time.
help.
And
I'm a very visual
I
person.
think the good thing is this space is like, it's a safe space to come together and have these sorts of conversations. Because the thing is, it's very difficult. Because like I was just listening to you guys like try to pick a very firm stance on something that's actually a very large gray area. Because what it is like people trying to use a wrong to right another wrong, and that's just not going to work. But
Yeah.
I think what we
Nice.
can all agree on is that yes, it's actually the root cause of this that needs to be solved. Like, however that manifests, like sometimes it's negative and that, that hurts innocent people, unfortunately. But yes, we can all agree on, yeah, we need to solve that before,
Mhm.
we can really solve any of this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to, talk about these things and, like be fair and kind with each other's opinions because, some people are still ignorant to certain things. And, it's like a good place to learn about things too. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you are in control.
Nice.
The power's with you.
I like that. Thanks, Dej.
I
That
do
was,
agree.
that was
that
100%.
was really,
Yeah,
really
no
well summarized. But I
No
felt this whole
doubt.
time. Cool. All right. 100.
Nice.
100. All right. Next week will be again 10:30
Mukbang?
Thursday. I don't know. I feel like we just skipped that this round. But
Mhm.
same time, 10:30 Eastern. We'll probably be on Twitch though. Oh, Dwayne Slack says socialism or barb. I don't know
Barb.
what that means.
Barb?
Yeah, I don't know.
Barbarianism?
Barbar.
Barbarism?
Socialism or barb? Maybe.
Is that a
Maybe
is that a
that
word?
just came just now. I don't know. But forgive us, Dwayne. We're signing off for next week. It might be on Twitch, but I'll put the VOD on YouTube. Gonna try something different next week. But yeah, that would be this week. Thanks for watching.
Oh wait.
Oh, what? What do you want to say?
No,
What
it's
do you want
just-
to say? Go ahead.
I was just saying, Twitch is better that way because all the comments show up on the screen too.
Oh, okay.
On the screen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. I can do that. Yes, I'll do that. Yeah. Thanks. Peace out.